Yeah, it's on.
If you're joining us online, we're just going to be a couple minutes as we get in the room. It's a rainy evening in the real world.
Even though I'm not distract me from my listening to or from presentation. Yeah, let's do it when we're leaving. So
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to us and what?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I just don't want people to be reading it when they're listening to.
Randy, if you're online, can
presentation.
you co-host?
I can make it.
Sure can.
All right, thank you. We have a lot of people online, so. Thank you so much. Hoorah. All right, let's get started. Welcome. I am Riley Owens, and I am the chair of the Queens Community Board 2 Transportation Committee. This is Queens Community Board 2. Welcome. I am joined by Rafael Nava. Thank you very much. From the district manager's office here, who is running the show with us. Thank you so much. I'm joined by esteemed committee members here and online, as well as some guests who are doing a couple of presentations. Also a representative from DOT, Joe Patty. So thank you so much. If anybody wants to do any public comment, I'm going to call for that now. If you are online, you can raise your hand. All right. And is anybody in the room signed up? I just asked that. No? All right. So Jonathan Suarez, you are good for public comments, typically 1 to 2 minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Just want to make
Yes,
sure.
thank you.
Great, thank you. So I just wanted to start by saying that the Queens bus redesign has been great for our neighborhood down here in Hunters Point South. I currently live in the Gotham North building in Hunters Point South. I'm one of the lucky low-income residents who were able to get a lottery unit in this building. And the Q101 and the Q103 extension down to Hunters Point South has been it's been great. It's been a really great boon to our transportation, especially for my daughter who now goes to Long Island City High School. She's able to literally just walk out of the apartment door, and with a few steps, she's at the Q103, and then a short trip pretty much straight to her high school, which is great. Unfortunately, the Q101 and the Q103 are running into constant delays because of the intersection at 56th Avenue and Center Boulevard. Uh, I I don't know how often buses run into delays because of double parked cars, but at this particular intersection, uh, the DOT and the MTA, I guess, anticipated that there would be issues with buses not being able to make the turn, so they actually put up a no standing anytime zone at the northeast corner of the intersection, uh, so that the cars wouldn't be able to, parked cars wouldn't be able to block the buses from turning. But drivers are constantly parking their cars in that space, which is resulting in buses every day being stuck at that intersection. From my window, I can see the intersection. There have been times when my daughter will message me in the morning. She's on her way to school, and then all of a sudden she's half an hour late because the bus was literally stuck for 15, 20 minutes at that one intersection, which is actually that intersection is the very first turn on that bus route. So, uh, for my daughter, that's huge inconvenience, and I imagine for thousands of commuters up and down the line, especially as these two bus lines, there's about 10 subway stations, at least 10 subway stations along those two bus lines. I can't imagine just how many commuters are being delayed by these buses getting stuck for upwards of half an hour, uh, just because of one individual who parked their car in a no standing zone. I'm strongly recommending that the community board uh, look into recommending to the DOT that they install a bulb out on that northeast corner to to physically prevent drivers from parking in that space. Fines are great, but they don't prevent people from parking in the space. A driver getting a $50 fine doesn't prevent thousands of New Yorkers from being delayed every single day because of these issues. So I'm strongly recommending that the community board make a recommendation to the DOT to install a bulb out at that corner. I did send an email to the community board with a map and my recommendations. I'm hoping that you would find it useful. The other issue is that when these buses get stuck, drivers often get impatient and they choose other ways to get around the buses, which often involves driving on the sidewalk, driving on the protected cycling path, and going the wrong way up one-way streets. All of these are obviously dangerous, and I would really hate for someone to get hurt as a result of these stuck buses when the solution is, I think, very simple. So, yeah, that's all from me. Again, I sent an email earlier this afternoon. If you could please take a look at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you for your eyes there and for bringing that to our attention. We've heard about this in the past, and as part of the whole redesign of that area and the redesign of the bus network, I know that there's been a lot of trouble there. I'm sad to hear that it's persisting. I don't know, Joe, if you have anything to say on that, or if we want to talk about it later.
Yeah, but, I mean, I could just comment real quick that, I mean, we did send a letter to the board last year saying that we're gonna have a bunch of different markings changes around Hunters Point South. And a lot of that includes, formalizing some of the parking that's currently a travel lane that no one really adheres to anyway, but there are gonna be a bunch of geometric design changes to Center Boulevard itself and, the streets leading into and out of it. I need to refresh myself on the exact changes on that corner. But I could check in with the project team again to see if we can look into hardening that. Because we are gonna be hardening, I believe 57 to Center Boulevard, like the turn there.
Yeah.
We're gonna be putting some what we call quick curb there, to kind of deter people from parking at the bend of the corner there. So we can, always look into seeing what we can put there too.
All right, awesome. Sounds good. I saw a heart from Jonathan. So thank you so much. And Jonathan, just keep us up to date on that. It's good to hear from people who are actually there and can witness it. Thank you. Next public comment is Teresa.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Teresa. I am from Councilmember Julie Wan's office. Hello, everyone that I've previously met before. I just wanted to listen in to hear concerns from everyone and kind of just relay some of the concerns that we've heard from constituents over this past month, which has been a particularly tough month with the weather. Were quite a few transportation related issues regarding buses, turning radius that were sort of like exacerbated because of the snow. And now that it's beginning to melt again, spring is on the horizon, I think it would be a great time to address these issues and lessons learned when the weather was not as great. I also did have a comment from a constituent that I promised that I would bring up at this meeting, and he asked me to say his name. His name is Howard Brickman. He's a resident of Sunnyside Gardens, and he did have a particular concern about trucks specifically that come off of the BQE and routing into the gardens. I know that there was the traffic calming measure around Barnett Avenue, and I believe like 39th. I don't know if it's street or avenue, but just kind of like revisit the effects of that change and what we can do for commercial traffic that does come through that is probably going into either Long Island City or potentially even Manhattan. So, and again, if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be listening in. But I will turn my camera off because I'm with my son in the other room.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for being here and thanks for listening in. You and I had a conversation earlier this month where I talked a lot about the problems for pedestrians when the snow falls. It got better on the second snowfall. I think everybody agrees, but the snow is finally melting today in the rain, and everybody's happy to be back on the sidewalks, but it is a major issue for us. Thank you. As far as truck traffic through Sunnyside Gardens, I'd like to hear more from Howard, if he can send an email.
Yeah, I'll give him your contact information.
Like a lot of the big trucks won't really want to use that area because of all the turnoffs and everything, and it would just be local trucks that really would want to use it unless they're using one of the.
Yeah, I think it's worth exploring.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Brad.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. I just wanted to, this is something that I mentioned to a couple people on the committee. Just based on my experience taking the bus on Queens Boulevard every day, where my son's daycare is on Queens Boulevard, and the Q60 I think really has some room for improvement. It gets very clumped up, and so the spacing between the buses during rush hour in both ways is quite a long wait time. And then oftentimes it'll come and it'll be completely full. We won't be able to get on. So I think there's room for improvement on that particular bus line. I think some of the bus route changes that happened in the last year did improve bus service on some of the other lines, but that one still seems to have a lot of problems. And then I just kind of going beyond just the Q60 specifically, I just wanted to and I'm sure there's a whole history to what I'm about to bring up that I am totally naive to, but it seems to me that Queens Boulevard is a great opportunity to do some kind of like rapid bus service, either with an express bus lane or even going as far as like a bus rapid transit system. Especially when you go eastward in our district, because the subway lines on Roosevelt Avenue are sort of running north as they go east at that diagonal. The neighborhoods that are more southerly as you go eastward in our district are very disconnected from transit. And I think that, but Queens Boulevard is right there. And I think that if bus service were to be improved on Queens Boulevard and people could more quickly get to the 7 train in Sunnyside by hopping on, people on the east part of Woodside, hopping on the train on Queens Boulevard, walk from the south of Queens Boulevard, walking north, hopping on the bus, and then taking the bus, a quick bus that came more rapidly than the Q60, didn't have as many delays due to traffic, and could get to the 7 train or get to Queensboro Plaza. It would really make transit a much more better option, public transit a much better option for a lot of residents in the southeastern part of the district. So I just wanted to, again, I'm sure there's been conversations about this that I don't know about, but I just wanted to sort of raise it and learn more about, the possibilities around that idea.
Sure. Thank you so much, Brad. And we did discuss this together. I have news since we had that conversation. Beginning March 16th, the Q60 is going to start automated camera enforcement throughout the route, and that is going to give tickets to anybody who is blocking the bus stop or double parked in front of the bus. So hopefully that speeds things up. I'll say that the first 60 days is a warning period for people. This is the first that I've shared this announcement or heard of it. So for 60 days, starting March 16th, there's a warning period where people will get a warning in the mail, but after that, they'll get ticketed for double parking on Queens Boulevard, as I understand it from the MTA. The DOT is also building bus boarding islands along Queens Boulevard, which should make riding the bus a lot safer, smoother, and faster, hopefully. But I know historically with this committee and the board, we have advocated for bus rapid transit, dedicated bus lanes on Northern Boulevard and Queens Boulevard, which are priority corridors in our district. So we'll keep pushing for that and appreciate you bringing this to us. Again, anybody who uses any of the transportation and transit in our district, I'd love to hear from them so we know exactly what's going on day to day. Thank you. Corey, did you have an answer to Brad or something new?
Yeah, just to follow up to Brad. I mean, I really appreciate you bringing this to the committee. It's something that we have discussed previously. It bears repeating that our district still has 0 miles of bus lanes, even though it's a priority transit district. And there was a hearing today on the renewal of the streets plan under the new New York City DOT. They should be looking for opportunities to hit the mandated minimum bus lane mileage in that plan. And so I think Queens Boulevard could be a great suggestion to them for how to add a lot of new miles of bus lanes to hit those legal mandates. You know, I think another point to keep in mind is DCP has been, well, not DCP, but there's been a lot of redevelopment on Queens Boulevard and a lot of high density, residential is being placed along it. So it's clearly being prioritized for families to move in there. The least the city could do would be to upgrade the infrastructure and speed buses along there. So I'm happy to hear about the automated enforcement program coming to the buses, but there's more that the city could be doing in addition to the MTA's doing automated enforcement to speed those buses along. So I'd be in support of us sending a letter of support for that specific ask. I'll just also add briefly to Teresa's point on snow clearance. This also relates to the MTA, but on the LARR underpass that leads to Northern Boulevard Station. What is it? 54th Street. It looks like the MTA never cleared the sidewalks there, and so there's still snow with maybe like a 1 foot kind of passage just from like a goat path of people walking on it that we might want to point out to them because it's a major way for folks in Sunnyside and Woodside to get to the Northern Boulevard MR station. So just another point there if we're doing any outreach to the MTA.
Thank you very much, Corey. Roz, did you
I
have?
just want to say briefly, because I think people should know how the bus lane blocking system works. What happens is you've got to have two buses. If you're in a bus stop, and the first bus goes by, then a second bus has to see you still being there. And that it has to be more, if two buses are one back to back, that doesn't count. It has to be 2.5 minutes between them. So it's interesting. It absolutely blows my mind how they're able to keep track of it all, but apparently they can.
Yeah, so if you're just gonna be a minute, make it a minute.
It literally has to be a minute.
But I don't advocate double parking. There's lots of parking available underneath the 7 train. Yeah, that's it. There's no more public comment online. All right, thank you again. We have a couple presentations and we'll move briskly to make sure we have enough time for everybody. First is the DVC Capital Project, Court Square.
Yeah, we'll take a wait. Who from Michael Baker is going to be presenting to him?
Yep.
Do you want to come up here? Maybe we can.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys give me her?
Join us while you're
Yeah.
presenting and you'll be on the presentation will be on the
See our
screen
back.
behind you. There's a microphone in front of you, so.
Yeah, we do.
Excuse me. You
This is okay. We could, but I'm gonna talk multiple. So, can everyone online see the screen? Yeah, looks like we're good to go. Thank you for having us. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Casey Gorell. I'm from the Department of Transportation in our Public Realm Unit. I'm joined by colleagues at the New York City Department of Design and Construction, as well as our consultant team for this project. This project is the Court Square Pedestrian Improvements Project within Long Island City, and the project ID is HWQ 7886C. Just for an overview, this project is a combination of a street reconstruction project as well as a DEP water and sewer project. The areas outlined in blue on this map are the areas of roadway reconstruction. These are the
It's not
No
short.
math.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, is it?
It's always
Yeah,
silly
it
on
is.
the phone. so-
Okay, we'll keep it not full screen. maybe not full screen. then. Sorry about that. So just to reiterate, the areas in blue are where we're looking to do street reconstruction and geometric changes. The areas in pink are needing upgraded DEP infrastructure.
Could you name the diagonal street? Because I can't, there's no way.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, just for reference, the green square in the middle is Court Square Park.
Okay,
The diagonal street running from kind of the bottom left to the top right is Jackson Avenue, and then Thompson Avenue is coming in from
thank you.
right. And then the areas shown in pink are where we would be doing DEP infrastructure improvements as well as curb to curbs. Kind of a mishmash of different agencies and different improvements throughout. So we know about it.
Yes.
Stuff.
Stuff is right there. You can see it.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's around the courthouse, a large part of it, and then what's opposite on the other side of the street, any structures? Familiar with MoMA, it's not, where's MoMA?
Further down on.
Moment more to the south, and then kind of the pink areas around the city clock tower.
Formerly
Yes,
known as.
formerly. What is it called?
The Altice mobile buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, around like that kind of property is where the water and sewer work. Okay, we'll scroll.
Scroll,
Here we go.
seems to work.
That's good. Yeah.
Just a little kind of background on the origin of this project. Following the original Long Island City rezoning in 2001, the neighborhood went through a big change with the increase of both jobs and residences. But the infrastructure kind of has remained as this post-industrial, very wide roads, not very hospitable for people walking, and kind of getting around the neighborhood. So we really want to make upgrades that meet both kind of the existing demand of residential and community-oriented trips, as well as the upcoming density that is part of the one LIC rezone also passed. So there's just a lot of change happening in the neighborhood, and we want to make sure the infrastructure matches that change. And then DOT, we began exploring public realm improvements in the Port Square area just to have needs from. Next slide. And just for context, there's a lot happening in this neighborhood, both for DOT projects, as well as the larger rezoning. So there's past projects that improve the public realm on Jefferson Avenue, on the Crescent Street, Shared Street and pedestrian improvements. There's the recently installed 29th Street Plaza near the Oregon Community College, 12th Street Plaza, more towards the west in the neighborhood, and then some upcoming planned projects on Thompson Avenue to increase bike connectivity and professional. And then there's also some additional capital projects upcoming. We are looking to build out the MoMA PS1 Plaza at 46th Avenue that was recently funded as part of the Long Island City Downtown Revitalization Initiative, funding through the New York State Department of State. This project at Fort Square, and a potential future project on Thompson Avenue near the project. So a lot happening, and we want to make sure we're all coordinated with all. Just for reference for this project, we began outreach in 2019, just before the pandemic, and had to do a little bit of a shift, as everyone did when started. We did some merchant outreach, on-street outreach in October of 2019, followed by a virtual stakeholder meeting in November of 2020. We pivoted to a more virtual environment, and then culminating kind of final workshops in February of 2021. So we've done quite a bit of like community outreach engagement with both property owners, people on the street, people just in neighborhoods for virtual meetings. Next slide. Some general outcomes of that outreach. The kind of most requested improvement for the Fort Square area is increased pedestrian circulation space. There's a lot of roadway space, not a lot of sidewalk space. And one activity that we did for this outreach was have people trace their paths, and we saw where people are walking, and that's shown on the map on the right. A lot of people coming from the train over the bridge into the neighborhood, people going up and down Port Square West to access courthouse and businesses, while also then access larger. And some of the main concerns that we heard from the community were a high rate of vehicles failing to yield, high vehicular traffic volumes, and speeding vehicles coming. The kind of major moves for the street reconstruction project is looking to increase the amount of pedestrian space surrounding Fort Square Park, to create a very pedestrian focused kind of node around the ongoing reconstruction of Fort Square Park being undertaken by New York City Department of Recreation. So really creating a pedestrian focused area for new residents, existing residents, around one of the premier open spaces. We want to shift the kind of heavy traffic volumes that are coming into the neighborhood for the industrial uses and larger connections onto the larger arterials that have more connectivity with the road. So looking to shift traffic onto 44th Drive, because that's a street that actually goes somewhere at that ending at Jackson. And then on Jackson Avenue, we want to improve and add new crossings to increase circulation to this new public open space. Just for reference, as part of this project, we are looking to convert Thompson Avenue to a one-way street, which would be heading kind of west or northbound, depending on the direction, because it's a little angled and crooked. And that would shift the southbound or more interior Queens-bound traffic onto 44th Drive. The volumes currently on Thompson Avenue of this one block of Thompson can easily be accommodated on 44th Drive, which is where we'll be able to gain all of the space for additional pedestrian improvements by converting the street to one way.
Thompson Ave is the street going by LaGuardia College
Correct. We're only looking to change
over or we're talking about the part.
just the part by the courthouse, just that part. The bridge would remain up.
I suppose second, Maury, you have a question for now or later?
I just wanted to, I was trying to clarify because I was a little confused on the previous screen because the previous slide. I wasn't able to follow the were these color coded? Is that what it was?
Yeah, these are
Oh,
color.
okay. Yeah, for those of us that have color vision impairment, I would please ask that in future to not rely on color alone, like add a number or a letter for each one. It helps us.
No, that's on black.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Usually do, and I didn't.
Thank you, Maury.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, that's good.
No, it's very good. That actually I think ends, that's the summary of kind of the big transportation changes. I think next slide is the overall presentation or project proposal, and I will pass it to the consultant team. Yeah.
Before you do that, you said Thompson Ave is gonna be one way. So if somebody comes off the bridge and is coming down, that would be, they could do that, but they wouldn't be able to.
Correct. Anyone heading towards the bridge or heading towards the LaGuardia Community College would use 44th Drive, which would remain as two-way. Because most people
Which is
are,
44th Drive.
44th is where the arrow there.
I mean, we read the red ones.
The other ones are showing where we're.
Two-way ones, right?
That's Thompson.
That's
That's
Thompson.
Thompson.
Roz, it would only be a one-way conversion from one block. of
Oh.
Thompson.
But still, it prevents throughput then.
Yeah,
Pass it to-
There are two streets that you can take from Queens Boulevard or the upper level when you're going towards Long Island City. There's actually two different streets that you can take to go there.
If you're coming off the upper level, the ramps that kind of dead end into Thompson, those roads, or
It's like an extension of Queens Boulevard, I don't know what it's called. And you're going towards Long Island City. You get off the upper level, make a right. And then as you go down, there are actually two different
Yeah.
streets that you can take down towards Citibank, or whatever it's called now.
yes, one is Thompson, one's 44th Drive.
So what you're saying is Thompson will be.
It'll be
I would-
one way.
I would not be able to take Thompson.
That's the
because
direction you would be able to
I
get.
would be able, what about
Yes.
44, it's going to be two ways.
Yes, that'll be two-way still.
Okay, so then people reversing can only use 44 then.
Correct. If you're heading like out into central Queens, you would have to use 44th Drive.
And Corey, you have your hand up, and I'll remind everybody, there's more information to come, so we can save questions, but if you have a question now, please do.
All right, yeah, sure. I'm just thinking, you called out the Thompson Ave Bike and Pedestrian Improvement Project that DOT is working on kind of further upstream on Thompson. I'm just interested how this could impact that. I know the park is a big draw. I mean, for me, but for a lot of people biking, and it's a pretty straight shot into South Sunnyside that avoids a lot of hairiness up near Queens Plaza and Queens Boulevard. Would the assumption here be that eastbound bikes would take 44th Drive? That remains two-way, right, and then merge onto Thompson, same as the cars? Or is there any opportunity for, even like a contraflow bike facility to get people from Court Square Park, east towards Thompson?
Great question. I think the Thompson plan is still in development, so we are saving space for it, but it's not been fully designed yet. I think from my understanding from the larger bike connections, the goal is to connect Thompson Avenue, heading over the bridge into LaGuardia Community College, more towards the protected bike lanes on 44th Drive. But we can maybe check with our bike team about like more local connections from the park itself to that kind of future connection. But that's a good.
Yeah, I just think if there's a high quality protected bike lane on Thompson that goes on to 44th, even with that there, I can imagine people at Court Square Park, would be induced to take those nice wide sidewalks, and we don't want to create conflicts with pedestrians in this beautiful pedestrian space you're building. So it's just might be worth consideration.
Yeah, we can take that back to our bike team to parse through that. It's a good comment.
All right, I'm Phil Kirkpatrick from Michael Baker. This is the overall project map. In the lighter colors is the sidewalk areas will be concrete, and in the darker colors would be the asphalt colors. So you can see we're expanding the pedestrian areas, sidewalks. There's the Fair Street, Court Square West. So the project objectives is to improve pedestrian safety for the core downtown Long Island City, for the Court Square subway station and the MTA bus routes along Jackson Avenue. We're going to create new public space, modernize the local street networks, also have DEP component with upgrading the sewer and water main. We're coordinating with various agencies for this project. New York City DOT for the roadway design, street lighting, traffic signals, and the pedestrian areas. New York City DEP, we're improving sewer and water main design, and stormwater practices are being investigated with there. New York City Parks for all the street trees, and the Court Square Park current construction project going on at that park. For New York City DDC, for this project, we are pursuing ambition certifications. MTA buses, we're rebuilding the bus stops along Jackson Avenue near the parks. For New York City Transit, we are constructing over the existing subway facilities, and we're coordinating with a couple transit subway projects in the area. And for the mayor's office, this project was chosen for local law 41 climate resiliency pilot program, which our landscape design will coordinate with. We'll share that later. Slides. So one component of this project is a proposed shared street along Court Square West. So from Jackson Avenue till approximately mid-block towards the dead end, we are going to raise the road and eliminate standard gutters, so there will be no curb lines. Will be on top of the curbs, so this will prioritize pedestrian movements along the corridor. There'll be detectable warning units along that whole raised area. So that'll help delineate the traffic from the pedestrians, and the surface will be concrete, so it'll look more like the adjacent sidewalk. So not a plaza, but and all the non-pedestrian ADA compliant ramps that portal. So here's the concept. On the left is the current aerial with the asphalt street and the sidewalk separated, and on the right is the proposed concept. So as mentioned again, we're raising the roadway. You can see it pretty much adjacent to the park limits, and we're gonna have detectable warning units. These are the rectangles along the curb line, so for the pedestrians making cross anywhere, and concrete pavement will be Yeah, pavement will be concrete, there's the asphalt. Just to get a better idea, here's a proposed typical section. You can see the curb lines are now flush with the proposed roof. Another aspect of the project is a proposed median cut through along Pearson Street, Jackson Avenue. This will be signalized. This will be able to connect to the subway station across the street. Will give better pedestrian safety. And additionally, all the other ped ramps in the area are just created. And here it's side by side. To the left, you can see the current aerial view with the median across the street, so pedestrians don't have an access route towards that subway stop across the street for Pearson. On the right, you can see on the west side of the intersection, we're going to put a cut through so pedestrians can cross the street. And we're going to add a signal there, just the stop sign at Pearson Street. So Thompson Avenue, I mentioned in previous slides, we're going to convert it to one way and extend the curb out. So there's also going to be a raised crosswalk at the intersection of Thompson Avenue and Court Square West for pedestrian safety. And additionally, we're also going to include new pedestrian crossings at Thompson Avenue, Court Square East, and also at Fort Drive. The extended sidewalk will allow for pedestrian space. And again, as in all other areas, all the non-compliant pedestrian. So here's an overview of the proposed area on Thompson Avenue. So you can see on the south side, the sidewalk area has been expanded because of the conversion from two ways to one way for more pedestrian and safety and other extending aspects. The raised crosswalks at Court Square West, and we're having new pedestrian crosswalks. There's two of them across Court Square East, and there's a new one at Fort Drive. As part of this project, we were investigating stormwater management practices, and we identified a few locations at Pearson Street, Thompson Avenue, where we could propose concrete top infiltration bases, drain infrastructure. As mentioned earlier in the slides, we have DEP work in the area where we were doing the DOT full depth reconstruction. We're going to upgrade the sewers and water mains. So the sewer work is just within the DOT work. And as mentioned before, we have areas like 44th Drive, Jackson Avenue, 23rd Street, 45th Avenue, where we're just going to replace the water mains and do standard trench restoration. And for Pearson Street and part of Court Square West and Court Square East, we're going to upgrade the water mains, but we're going to do resurfacing after the trench restoration. And here's the conceptual landscape design. Landscaper will discuss it.
Yeah, my name is Patrick Weisel. I'm the senior landscape architect for Being Here Landscape Architecture. And we are charged with designing the pedestrian spaces and placing the trees and the benches, etc. So this is a focus on the Court Square Park area, and the program called for two distinct spaces. One is a community, programmable community space or community closet, if you choose to call it that, on the east side of the park. And the other one is a shared street, which Philip mentioned, on the west side of this park. In the community programmable community space, that's a pretty sidewalk is going to kick out now into that lane that's removed from Thompson Avenue. And so that sidewalk is going to be widened out to about 45 feet. That allows us to put one row of trees along the curb line. And we're going to talk a little more about that later, but then a second row closer to the park so that those two rows or alley would shade that area and make a nice spot for community gatherings and a proposed farmers market to be brought in later. On the west side of the street, the shared street, Philip already mentioned. Philip already mentioned most of that. There is no drop curb anymore on that street. So that allows pedestrians and vehicles to share the street. It also makes the space a little bit ambiguous so that pedestrians should have the right of way there. And we're going to create some visual interest there that should slow the trucks down a little bit. You'll notice, well, you don't see where the trees previously were, but we kicked the trees on that street out a little bit to align with the truncated domes or the detectable warning strips. So that would reinforce the delineation between the vehicle space and the pedestrian space a little bit more and create some secure refuge there by the park. Also, you'll notice some banding in the concrete paving on both sides of the park, and that is just picking up the historic paving pattern in front of Court Square and taking it to a larger scale that's appropriate to the 5x5 standard sidewalk paver. So that creates both visual interest and also gives it the historical continuity along with the more tightly defined paving pattern in front of the historic courthouse. Next slide, please.
Just quickly,
Yes.
Corey has a question there.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. So very excited about both these proposals. I'm glad to see trees are being prioritized and you know, the wider sidewalk on Thompson's being proposed as a community plaza. It's really great. I was actually going to ask if that was being considered, so you answered one question already. So one question with Court Square West being a shared street, I know further east from there is a pretty large self-storage facility and a parking lot that, you know, some aerials just from a cursory glance seems like a lot of trucks. I'm wondering, you know, one, if that's going to be an impact in terms of how friendly the shared street really feels to pedestrians, like what the current volumes are on that road now, and what you expect, you know, the impact of the, you know, horizontal deflection, vertical deflection, like all that stuff would have, just because I don't think we want a situation where like it's designed as a capital project for a shared street, but then it's full of trucks and no one likes it. The trucks nor the pedestrians, right? And then the other follow-up question is there a reason why that section of Thompson Avenue that we're currently proposing to be one-way couldn't get the same treatments and also be a sort of raised shared street type situation?
We take those, because they're very DOT oriented. For the shared street, the volumes on Court Square West are very low, even though there are fairly vehicular oriented land uses on those streets. It's not a very high volume generator. So storage lockers don't generate a lot of vehicle trips. They do have like vehicle access, but there's not very many trips during the day. And even same with the parking lot, it's really those repetitive people who are coming and going from the same parking lot. So we don't foresee a significant number of conflicts between vehicles and pedestrians here because the volumes are so low. And with this change from asphalt to concrete, you see that as a big pedestrian improvement or a pedestrian prioritization tool because it won't look like a typical roadway. So there is a pretty substantial visual difference for drivers and pedestrians for that segment. I think also some of the plan for this, also in the future, designing it as a shared street allows for more programming as the neighborhood continues to like adapt and change. So having it designed as one level surface would allow for the street to be temporarily closed for potential bench, maybe when the farmers market's in session. So we're future proofing for additional changes in the long term while still maintaining vehicle access while those land uses are still present on that street. For Thompson Avenue, even though we are converting the roadway to one way, the volume is still relatively higher than Court Square West because it's actually a street that connects somewhere and not a dead end. So we didn't view that as a viable option for a shared condition. There's a potential for some buses to be using it as a turnaround. There is going to be traffic coming off the bridge. And it was slightly higher in volume than we felt comfortable for pursuing a full shared street on that side. So that's why we went with the larger sidewalk instead.
Right, gotcha. Thank you.
And I just have one follow-up question. With the shared street, my question was because I have kids, they're hard to manage, and this is one of the only green spaces in this part of town. So you bring your kids to the green space, kids are running around, you're talking with your neighbor, and the kid runs up to the shared street. Is there an easy delineation between the park and the streets that a kid might start to be cautious? There won't be parked cars on the shared street. There will be a curb.
No, there'll be the standard street trees, which are an indicator to like an edge condition, and we also, as mentioned, the detectable surface, it's the red domes, so it's a bright red edge, so it is a very visual cue. So I think it's definitely like something to be aware of, but we do have a pretty distinct line for a.
Okay.
Before you move on, I forgot to mention that also we were asked to place a future kiosk. And you'll see that's the little black rectangle there in the community space to the east. The kiosk is not actually part of this job, but we do have to place it so that the utilities can be brought there and that the kiosk can be brought in the future. Also, you'll see plenty of benches and bike racks along both the east and west side of the park. Next slide.
What's the purpose of the kiosk?
So we include a kiosk in potential plaza locations, and it can be used by a partner as part of the DOT.
Like, every charging?
It's very flexible. It's basically a blank slate little structure that can be either programmed for food and beverage, for storage, for activations, for events, charging. It's very flexible. We just want to future proof for future options.
All right, and then this is a detail continuing on down Thompson towards the bridge over the Sunnyside Yards. Here again, the sidewalk is expanding out into the lane of traffic that is no longer there. So we're adding a new line of trees along the curb line. And in addition to the existing line that is there, which again, similar to the community space on the east side of the park, should create a shady LA. So anyone on a hot day coming over that bridge, there's not a lot of tree cover down there, should find some refuge here as they approach the park and hopefully has a whole cooling effect. I think the rest, you see the raised crosswalk there between Thompson where it connects up on the upper left there into the park space, community space. And again, continuation of the alternate color banding to create some visual interest and concrete instead of the other pavers that were there before. Next slide. So this is a section of Thompson, the kick out into the street, but it is also very similar to the community space on the east side of the park. And as Philip mentioned, because this is has been a pilot project with Local Law 41, which mandates us to explore design alternatives that in this particular case will address future heat island effect in this area because the area has been slated or identified as a potential future heat island. And so our design alternative to that is to grow large trees because large trees not only provide a lot of shade, but they also wick up water and evaporate it through their leaves in a process called evapotranspiration. That evaporation actually absorbs heat. And so the trees actually create cool air as well as providing shade. So in order to get large trees, especially in a converted roadbed where the material is highly compacted and has little organic matter, a tree will not grow there. And a standard tree pit does not provide enough soil volume to grow a large tree. So the design initiative here is to include what's generically called soil cells, which is a modular pedestal system under the pedestrian space that will hold good uncompacted soil, which trees need to grow large and provide the shade and evapotranspiration cooling. In this particular case on Thompson, you see the new line of trees is on the right, and then under that walkway between the two trees, which we hope to grow very large and provide good shade there, this is the modular pedestal soil system which also goes back to the old curb line so that the existing trees there, which are London planes, can share that soil and grow larger themselves. So the two lines of trees, the curb line and the existing trees, will share the soil so they can grow larger and create a shaded canopy over that area.
How deep is that?
It can be anywhere from about 16 inches to actually 4 feet. I think we're showing it here at about 21 inches. Most tree roots don't go much below 18 inches, although they can. But we would try to employ the deepest cells that we could given the infrastructure in the neighborhood, because more soil volume grows larger trees.
Great. So as mentioned before, as part of this project, we are pursuing Envision certification. So Envision is kind of like LEED for infrastructure projects, LEEDs for buildings, so it's similar to that. And infrastructure is a framework that includes what they call credits. There's 64 different categories and subcategories where you can pursue these credits to try to get the certification. And you can see there's a few categories here: quality of life, leadership, resource allocation, natural world, climate, and resiliency. And DDC has been using Envision as a tool to implement sustainable and resilient design strategies on their various infrastructure projects. And for this project, here is there's multiple goals you can pursue, and here's like 4 example goals for this project that we would be pursuing to help meet these Envision standards. So enhance public space and amenities. So you can see the various ways that we're looking to enhance the public space with the plaza and expanded sidewalks. Provide stakeholder involvement. It's where we go meet stakeholders with various projects to discuss. Get some feedback from them. Support sustainable procurement practices. So as part of the bidding documents, they offer incentives to encourage sustainable construction practices and stormwater management, such as the green infrastructure practices that we're pursuing. There's other goals and credits that are part of this, but we don't support to help the vision requirements that we're pursuing for this project.
Hi, everyone. I'm gonna cover the last portion. I'm Ari Gershman, he, him, from New York City Department of Design and Construction. So just to let you know about our project timeline, as you can see, we have passed the preliminary design. The design is ongoing through the fall of this year. We expect to issue the contract winter, which would be the end of this year. And then for physical construction to start in the summer of 2027. Next slide. So even though the construction is not going to start until the summer of 2027, just to give the committee a little bit of an idea about what to expect during the construction phase. I'll go through it a little bit briefly. When the construction is imminent, we will be happy to come back and to allow you to meet with a contractor who's actually going to be performing the work and to go into more details about the construction. So this is just to give you a little preview as we're looking forward to the construction phase. So these are just the general guidelines. We maintain pedestrian sidewalk access at all times. If there's a need to work on the portion of the sidewalk, then we would set up an alternate access for pedestrians. Street closures are avoided unless there's a particular operation that requires very temporary street closure. Other than that, the street will remain open to traffic flow. If necessary, we will have flaggers in place to direct traffic. We will comply with DEP noise codes. There may be restrictions on parking during construction, of course. We coordinate with the sanitation department if there's any impact on trash pickup. and rodent abatement is required.
Pedestrian access is maintained. Do you include bicycle, like if there are bicycle routes, are they supposed to?
Yeah, we would work with DOT on that, but generally they set up some type of diversion.
That's what we call MPT. This is what we call an MPT. Whenever there's any kind of construction that impacts a bike facility, there has to be an alternative for it,
That's,
especially if it's protected.
So those plans are submitted and they have to get approved by DOT, whatever DOT
Okay.
mandates, that's what we have to do. As mentioned, there is going to be some underground improvement to the DEP infrastructure, water and sewer infrastructure. So with that comes some situations in which we have to have a water shut off during the time when the water lines are being replaced. So our protocol is to give at least 72-hour notification, followed by 24-hour confirmation or cancellation for the water shutdown. And it mentions here our community construction liaison, just to let you know, on a project like this, we have a full-time person whose job is to communicate with this board, with any community groups or organizations, residents, businesses, anyone who is in the project area who is affected, will be receiving communications from that liaison, both in person and by email. So these are just some examples of the tools that the liaison will be using. Project information card, the advisories get posted, physically posted within the community at the affected location, as well as going out through the email. Construction bulletin goes out through the email every week to let everyone know what work is going on, and a more detailed update is provided quarterly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Did you say how long construction is expected to take? To start, but I don't know.
Did we have that? Let me double check before I answer that question.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone may answer, but what currently goes on at the courthouse? What city agencies are there? I did jury duty in Jamaica. I don't know.
It's still off.
Is anybody inside?
Well, I thought it was supposed to.
Still a courthouse.
Yeah, Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still have cases going on? Yeah, really.
I think when you get called for jury duty, that's one of the options.
But I heard they don't have air conditioning.
Sounds like another active process.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody for presenting that to us. I appreciate it. If we can get a copy of the presentation, yes, if we can send copies of that. I've got a question pertaining to the courthouse as well. This is one of the few public parks, I think, well, not few, but this is one public park that doesn't have a public bathroom. I don't know if the courthouse offers a public bathroom to people. There's a lot of infrastructure changes, plumbing and sidewalks getting torn up and kiosks going in. Is this an opportunity for a public bathroom, which is something that our board has asked for, and I know was in the one LIC asks from the council member?
I think it's something we can look into. Well, from the DOT perspective, we have the automatic pay toilet that you can tease. They're very challenging to cite, which is why there aren't give them throughout the city. But we can check if this is a potential viable location. I don't believe parks includes the bathroom as part of the reconstruction, but I can't.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Yeah.
And then, I don't know about the courthouse number. But it's something
Because I know
we can-
sometimes city buildings offer a bathroom, but I don't know if it's all
The
there.
Health and Human Services Committee has also been addressing the lack of need for public bathrooms, and so I can speak for it technically. A resounding yes, please.
Hasn't the mayor brought down that was part?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like the people want it and the city wants to build some, so this might be a good place and a good time to do it. Randy,
We're
you
not
have a
the first
question
to
online?
say.
What's that?
You're definitely not the first to bring that up, so.
Oh, yeah.
So we're
No, I
definitely
think
pretty-
Julie one brought it, up, maybe not in this particular site, but within the context area.
Yeah.
See, Randy online?
Hey everyone, thank you for the clear presentation. I want to say, I used to live on 45th Avenue, and 6 years ago we used this plaza as like the one place where we could have my kids run around safely 6 years ago. So I applaud all the work that all the different agencies are doing to make this a more livable community. Couple points of clarification or one comment. I also share Corey's um, like wonder about Court Square West. Um, as I lived over there, it did feel to me, this is all qualitative, which is probably wrong. So you have the data that there were quite a lot of vehicles going up and down Court Square West. And so I would like make sure that you do both the pre-work and post-work to quantify that and then come back to us and see how it's working after you do the changes, just so that if you have to make any additional safety issues around that area. You can do that. So that's one thing. And then Court Square East, um, just to make it clarify, there is an exit from Court Square Municipal Parking Garage. Is the idea that you're either going to close that down or cars exit only there and take a left to go west towards Thompson Avenue out on that, and just because I'm sure there'll be residents um, in that apartment building will have some questions about the traffic movement.
Yeah, definitely noted on for Court Square West and the implementation of a shared street. Shared streets are very new in the city. We haven't actually built one. Planned a lot and there's a lot in design. So it's definitely something that I think is going to be a bit of a learning curve for everyone. It's a new treatment, but DOT doesn't walk away from our projects once we're done. We continue to manage the streets, so we'll be continuing to observe how these function, especially because they are a new treatment in the city. So definitely we'll be able to report back post-construction or make do evaluations for any post-construction changes if necessary. For Court Square East, yes, vehicles exiting Court Square East would be forced left onto Thompson and head up toward Jackson, where you can make a left or a right to access the greater neighborhood. And then when coming into the garage, would come from 44th Drive onto Thompson to then access Court Square East. So slight changes to circulation, but no actual like restricted movements. People will still have free access to that parking facility.
Great, thank you. And then I'm sorry, a follow-on question, because it comes up and it's been in public press. What sort of interaction with FDNY have you had about access for apparatus and equipment here? And I just want you to get out in front of it. I'm curious about it. I think I'm not a fire expert, but there's a lot of push and pull between FDNY and livable communities and some of these streets. So how have you like interacted with them, and what sort of concerns have you dealt with?
All of our projects go to FDNY for review for their feedback. I think you did point out that there is kind of a bit of there's a disconnect in some of the goals that we have with partner agencies sometimes. I think FDNY, their goal is to get to a location as quick as possible and want unimpeded access kind of at all times, while we want to strive to activate our streets over our sidewalks and create kind of a more livable, pedestrian-focused environment. So we do take their feedback very seriously by maintaining access to all of these locations. And then also we usually really confirm with them where they have concerns over their ladder operations. These are really big buildings where they don't ladder. So it's less of concern here. There are parts of the neighborhood, or not neighborhood, parts of the city where that's a much bigger concern from FDNY. So we can maybe have a different response to that type of concern. But we do seek their feedback and input and respond to their concerns as much as we can for all of our projects.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I got an update for you on the construction duration while we're here. It should be about 3 years.
3 years. Okay, thank you.
3 years from
Start of construction.
from the act, not the planning and all the procurement and all of that.
Physical construction starting in the summer of 27,
Okay,
3 years.
all right.
But obviously, it's not the entire area, one section and then another section, but overall.
Thank you. I had seen this presentation last month and I had asked about bike parking. So it's a park and people will want to ride their bikes there, and it's a courthouse, I guess, and people want to ride their bikes there. There's a move towards having secure bike parking for people who work in spaces or regular visitors, as well as bike racks. Like when people know that there's a lot of bike racks available and they're not searching for a street sign, they ride their bikes more often. Has anything changed? There was some question about what was in the plans.
No change. We are proposing bike racks as part of this project, which is a DOT standard item. The secure bike parking is kind of an ongoing conversation. We announced the contractor who won the bid for that. I think it's still ongoing of like where those go. I think the biggest benefit to that program is that they're a very flexible design. They can basically be plunked down anywhere. So there's going to be plenty of space for that to come if this location is selected to move forward. But no immediate updates on it. That'll happen. It'll be like an entirely separate initiative.
Sure. All right, thank you. Anyone else? Great, thank you very much. It looks great and I love it. I love pedestrianization. I love plazas. I love a place for people to go and meet each other and have community events, farmers markets, and things like that. So I appreciate all the planning that goes into broadening the pedestrian space, protecting bikes. I did mention at the last time I saw this that Jackson Avenue needs a bike lane, and I think that'll be a separate ask from us. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Great, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I wasn't able to stay for that poll. I just wanted to, if I just share like an updated Google.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Yeah, my own items.
If that's get an update from DOT and the presentation.
Yeah, it'll only be 5 minutes. So,
Thank you.
yeah, I just wanted to go down the agenda that we had. I know for those district-wide requests such as the 20, the district-wide 20-mile-per-hour speed limits and.
Oh, why don't you come and sit at the table?
I'm scared. You guys intimidating.
But I'm gonna say, but is there a restroom here?
Yes, there is. I'll give you this.
Thank you.
So those requests for those new bicycle facilities on the Greenpoint and those and the 20-mile-per-hour requests, those are still active, being reviewed by our research implementation safety groups and our bike group separately for the bike infrastructure there.
Is that specific to Greenpoint, or is it the thing we had last month for doing Sammy's Law?
Those are two being handled separately.
Yeah.
The bike infrastructure and the speed limit requests being handled separately by two different entities.
Okay.
I will say, for that, public park request at Borden Avenue, we've been having some very early discussions with both our internal land use team and also the Parks Department too, just to kind of get a temperature check on how that's going. So I think as that conversation goes on over time, I'll have more of a little bit more to share with it. Right now, it's just, figuring out, jurisdiction and figuring out feasibility of things. Building down. Give me 1 sec. I know there was the ask for updating the construction fencing on Queens Boulevard right by the MTA's project over there that has their construction fence out into the street on Queens Boulevard. That
46th Street?
46, I believe, yeah. I always get confused which station they're working on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I was able to talk to the contractor. I think I mentioned last time I was in the meeting that we were able to have them take down some of the netting that was on the fence so you can actually see out into the street now. So that's some good news to share with that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And I know lastly, one other concern was the bus stop relocation at 39th Street. So we are going to be meeting with both the board and Sunnyside Community Services coming up soon. And we are taking into account the ask for safety improvements at 39th Street. So we're going to be coming back with some what we find for that. The project team who did Queens Boulevard is looking at changes in the intersection, so we'll be able to share more about that soon.
Okay, that's good.
Will that include the possibility of a pedestrian crosswalk at community services, Sunnyside community? Because that to me seems like the creative answer. It's really
So
responsive.
half a block down, get another right.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah,
get across safely and then
Yeah, I could definitely ask about that, but for now, we're definitely focusing on the actual intersection of 39th and Queens Boulevard. To see what we can do
you
there.
were so articulate and explaining so well why that wasn't possible. And I think to move it forward and being particularly responsive, I hear you make sure that the possibility of it also.
We're always looking at opening, opening up new studies for that, so,
Well, I mean, it shows you're responding.
yeah. That was all that I had. I don't know.
I have
if y'all
a
have any
question.
questions. Sure.
South side of Queens Boulevard, between 33rd and 34th. At first, I thought, because there's a lot of construction going on, there's a need there, that the barrier, the Jersey barriers that are on that side were part of the construction. But I've been told that those are there for a bike lane. You recall what it was before?
So it's both, actually.
Where is this?
This is the south side.
34th south side of the boulevard. 33rd,
Third,
and
34th, yeah.
south side of the boulevard.
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to what, Roz's question from before about like whenever there's construction, do we make sure there's a safe path for cyclists? So normally, on Queens Boulevard, it's parking protected, so there's parked cars and then the bike lanes. But because the road was shifted over and that parking lane was now a travel lane, we still need to maintain protection for the cyclists. So we put that Jersey barrier there.
Okay, so now,
So that's only there for the construction timeline. So once the elevator work is finished, yeah. So once MTA finishes their project there, then they'll be able to remove those barriers and make it a parking lane then.
the problem now is that there's a rehab in that building
Yeah,
that people can't get out of a vehicle and accessorize a car to get into that building, which is in the middle of the block.
okay,
So now a person in a wheelchair and a walker or whatever has to go to a corner and get out, which those corners are a mess because now 34th Street is all in the construction also. So there's no ease of access for a disabled person who's going to a rehab. I don't know what can be done. I was just wondering right now what it was.
okay.
And now, they're in a pickle because they have to go from a corner and get themselves down to the mid block.
Yeah, those kind of construction situations always make it tough. I mean, the most like we can look into if we can make some type of loading areas at the corners, but that's
Still
as
have to
it
get down,
stands,
yeah.
like. We would want to maintain that protection that's on those lanes.
There can't be an opening,
In the
but
Jersey barrier.
but the car can't stop in the middle of the block.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like the trade-off with it.
Yeah.
It's, would we want to create a situation where someone's unloading right into a bike lane? Like, even if there was a gap in the barriers,
Yeah, and the car can't stop because it's a driving lane.
that as well, yeah. So, I mean, I speak with the team who made the project very often, so I could definitely see if there's anything. that
And it's
can be
gonna
done.
be a long time problem.
Yeah, it will be, fortunately, it takes some time to make those elevators, so.
When do they expect the elevators in these ones? We're talking about the one.
33rd Street, yeah. That's MTA's project, so I'm not too familiar with the timeline, but I know it's between 2 and 3 years, from what I remember.
There's also been like the one on Northern Boulevard is pretty quick.
It's also problematic under the, if you are driving west on Queens Boulevard and you wanna turn on 34th.
Yeah.
It's not 2 lanes. You can't turn into 2 lanes. They're taking over 1 lane. I don't know why. And so people are now turning and then all of a sudden it's a short turn to get into that 1 lane down 34th Avenue. Do you know why they took over that lane or is that MTA?
It's probably MTA, and it could be them staging their equipment. So, I can go take a look right after this.
I'm doing. under the L over there, so I thought I couldn't figure out what it was, there's no exit from a train station there.
Yeah, it could be them staging our equipment, just so it's not in the way. But I'll go take a look at it, please.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I remember when, MTA came to us, it was about the same time that DOT came and presented Queens Boulevard.
Yeah,
Redesigned, it was the same meeting.
literally same year. both
And
times.
the guys were like, we're redesigning Queens Boulevard, then the MTA was like, we're taking away parking for 3 years in these specific spots.
That's
You know, the city has to improve. It would be great if DOT can talk to that facility, if you guys have.
Yeah, we can
Face to face. and see
Yeah,
what works
contact.
best for them. Anybody have any questions for DOT before Joe leaves? Let me see if I have. I look forward to warming weather and projects and
Yeah.
rehabilitation of streets. We've seen a lot of salt, so there's a lot of potholes, faded crossings. Last year there was delays in getting crossings remarked, so I hope that, once we see the state of the streets.
I mean, we're putting in our priorities now, so let me know if you want anything else prioritized right now.
Yeah,
But
I will say,
markets-
we put in a study for 54th Street and 39th Avenue a couple of years ago, and it seems the study is still ongoing. It's part of my neighborhood, so I see a lot of traffic stopping short because they're pulling out in front of each other, crashes and unsafe crossings there. So that's under Woodside, 39th Avenue and 54th Street.
Into the park.
That, it's so, no, this is the 39th Avenue east of Woodside Avenue. So 54th Street is, as Corey mentioned, the way to get to the R train, the MNR train. So a lot of people cross there, but there's no crosswalk. Yeah. And there's no crosswalk there, and it's also a intersection with poor visibility, so cars are always pulling out in front of traffic. Lots of horn honking and stopping short. So if you could look into that.
Sure.
Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking into Woodside itself too, so.
Yeah,
54th Street in particular, like 39th Ave, yes, but also 37th Ave. That is like a major route people walk to the train on, and I think it could really benefit from a stop sign and a crosswalk. Or at least a crosswalk so that cars will actually yield to people needing to cross there.
37th Avenue now has a big car in there. So the cars are all lined up.
Yeah, we report those all the time too.
I will say
also-
to go that I want to look at Barnett Avenue as well, because there's a new housing project, the Phipps, going there, and Barnett does not really have a sidewalk. And so most of those people will be using trains and mass transit, so.
Yeah.
I think
On
redesigning
the
Barnett
north side of
on the
Barnett,
north side where the Phipps.
Yeah,
building
you
is.
get through from there by.
Yeah, if they're making a whole new building, they're normally required to build out the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And also like half of the street repair as well.
I think from the new
Yeah,
building
street.
to Woodside Avenue is a little hairy. There's-
Yeah, there's a lot of business,
A lot of businesses that park on the sidewalk because it's
one-story
not-
businesses there.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss it. The building is, I'm sure, due to open soon. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
One other priority I'd like to raise to your attention, if I can get in the chute, is Roosevelt Avenue, basically under the 7 train, surrounding all the construction around 52nd Street Station. The road is just completely chopped up. It's incredibly dangerous to ride a bike on that road, and it's also heavily trafficked by delivery cyclists. It's already a dangerous street, but the potholes are getting out of control there. I know it's not paving season, but that needs to be like a top priority repave as soon as it's warm enough to patch.
Gotcha. We can look into pothole repairs. If there, like you said, there is an MTA project there, so that might make a conflict for repaving.
Right.
But we can definitely look into short-term pothole repairs. I can get that done, this week.
Right, great. Yeah, that'd be great. It's multiple blocks, so it's hard to give a specific location for, but
Okay, but that-
right if I got there, you'll see it right
Maybe
away.
have an email sent to me, then and we can get that figured out.
Awesome, thanks.
It's right outside. But okay, thank you very much, Joe. Thanks for, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Joe.
And, see you in the spring. Whenever that comes.
Supposedly next week, you'll be said.
Oh, yeah.
Daylight savings company.
Yeah,
Finally.
we're doing.
Good CR.
Take care.
Thank you. Miriam, thank you very much, to you and your team for your patience. I know I said you'd be at the near the beginning of the meeting. I didn't realize the Court Square presentation was as long as it was, as much as I appreciate it. Thank you for staying.
Thank you. So, for those of you online and in the room, my name's Miriam Bensman. I am one of the outreach directors for a community group called the Queens Link. Anthony is also Anthony.
Anthony, I'm also an outreach director with Queenslink.
And Noel Hunter is.
Communications director for Queenslink.
So, I'm gonna give you a very brief introduction to what this community initiative is. It is not an official project yet. We're trying to make it that. And then Noel is going to present the results of a study that's sort of hot off the presses that we commissioned. And she's doing it because I've barely seen it yet. So, can you do that for me? Queens Link is an entirely volunteer-run nonprofit. We got some funding from like city council members, discretionary funds, some grants. We had a big fundraiser last year, and transit geeks from all over the country supported us because we had these terrific influencers, bloggers that promoted it. And we have been developing this proposal over several years. Some of our members are quite knowledgeable about pretty technical things about transit, and some of us are more just concerned individuals. We did a lot of outreach over many years before we developed our plans, and then we've taken them out to the community and gotten a lot of feedback. And sometimes that's like, we have a town hall and somebody brings an issue and we go and do a walk around with them of their meeting and figure it out. My impression was that our feedback listening was a lot better than what I've sometimes seen from official feedback sessions that, various agencies have had, where we really were pretty careful about that. And we, although this project would be built on a piece of land that, it's 3.5 miles from Regal Park to Ozone Park. Because it's transit, it really would have an impact from all of Queens, or at least half of Queens, sort of. So, and we would like to hear about any questions and input you all have, and we will try to also emphasize the way it might affect the communities up here. So I'm going to move it along. So, there is a long, skinny rail corridor that goes from Regal Park down to Ozone Park, which used to be where a Long Island Railroad line went. It continued all the way to the Rockaways, but the lower part of it was turned into an A-train extension when this was disabled, because otherwise the Rockaways were cut off. By using it to connect, we could extend the M line at Regal Park down over this. And it would then go over the A train, so it would effectively create the first north-south transit line in Queens, going, all the way to Manhattan, as the M train does. And it is also, well, I already said that it extends it. It would also, because it cuts off in Regal Park and the M train cuts off and doesn't go to Forest Hills, it frees up this very crummy station in Forest Hills where the trains have to turn around the locals that don't keep going. And as a result, right now, the local trains, you can only turn around so many in an hour. So even though they modernize the switches, so you get a more frequent trains, they're inhibited by the design of that station. So by routing the M train so that it doesn't go to Forest Hills, they could allow more local trains to go through. And that will become real important later when Noel explains too about the findings about what that would mean for transit service going forward. The right of way is quite wide, not all of it, but a lot of it is, especially in the north end in Regal Park, where we had that beautiful rendering and watercolor that Noel did. And because there used to be 4 tracks that went there, it was the old White Pot Junction. And then it's also pretty wide down in Ozone Park. Pieces of it are very narrow. So we could, where it's wide, and you can see on the map, it's where it's wide at the top and then in the bottom, you can really get a nice park. And because some of it, the north end will be in a tunnel, will be underground. There's already the big connector underground. When they built the E-train and stuff in Queens Boulevard 100 years ago, they put in an underground connection tube so that this could be done in the future. So 100 years later, their foresight would be rewarded. But there are other places it's real narrow. So, but it would be 33 acres of parkland. And the MTA did a feasibility study in 2019 that had found that this really was feasible. And both to do the rail improvements and to do the have the parks. So I think, okay.
So now Noel is gonna just take us through some of the recent study results that have come about.
Yeah, so this report that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, it is not currently out, so you're actually getting sort of a preview here. You get special treatment. So we're just gonna take you through some of the very high level findings of the study. Of course, we encourage everyone here to eventually read the study when it comes out and read what we imagine to be a lot of press that's gonna happen at that point. But some of the key items that we'd like to share with you today is that the line would see about 75,000 riders per day. And this builds upon ridership data that some students at NYU did as part of a graduate capstone project. And they used very professional modeling software to arrive at this number, which is almost twice as much as the MTA originally anticipated for the project. With this, with such a high amount of riders on this line, it would actually end up having more riders per mile than some of the other big New York City mega projects that are happening in the transportation sphere. Which ones? You'll have to read the report to find out, but it is some exciting stuff there. Key benefits as well, and this is just more high level about the project itself, but you would see about 50% more service on the Queens Boulevard line, so the EMF and R trains, basically we'd be increasing capacity and service on the local trains. So you would get more frequent trains at the local stations there. And very importantly, you would get up to 165% more service to the Rockaways because you're creating that north-south line. You're bringing more trains down to the Rockaways, basically connecting the borough that way. And it's kind of just a testament to how few trains actually go down to the Rockaways, which is really an equity issue. It would also reduce a lot of crowding on the 7 train. So, you know, at Jackson Heights Roosevelt Avenue, where you have a lot of people transferring between the express trains, the local trains on Queens Boulevard, and the 7 train on the upper level, you have a lot of congestion there. And because we're increasing frequency on the local lines, people are therefore more incentivized to stay on the local trains all the way. Basically, it means that your 7 train is going to be ever so slightly less crowded.
Ever so
Yeah.
slightly.
It's really hard to tell at this point, but it will have a noticeable reduction. This would also reduce crowding on the Q52, 53 buses. I would ask just for a show of hands how many people have taken those buses, especially during rush hour. I know it's a bit hard online to do that.
Is that the one that goes down Woodhaven?
Yes, Woodhaven Crossway. They are notorious for their crowding, and they never seem to run enough for the amount of people who use them. And so this would directly be a parallel line there. So it would reduce crowding there, and you would get this brand new subway line. Very importantly for you guys as well, it would have about 95,000 fewer vehicle miles traveled every single day. And so that means just across the borough, people who are trying to drive to, get to work, see friends, see family. Basically, we would be taking off a lot of cars from the roads, decongesting a lot of Queens's very crowded streets. For those drivers in the audience today, I'm sure you all have at least driven on the Woodhaven Crossway Boulevards or the Van Wyck Expressway. You know how bad it can be there. And so this is a project that directly aims to address a lot of the issues that we see with traffic there.
You mentioned a little earlier subway.
Yes.
Is this subway?
Yes, it's a subway. It would be an extension of the M train.
So you see how the M train, it goes on Queens Boulevard, and then right when it almost gets to Forest Hills at the terminus, it would turn south and become a north-south line and go all the way down to the Rockaways there. So it would be an extension of an existing line, plus what that ends up doing for the network. It allows you to bring the G train back to the Forest Hills station there, so you get additional capacity.
Right, so you'd see increased capacity basically on all of the Western Queens subway lines, like Queens Plaza would see increased capacity, all of the stations basically up until Forest Hills. And you get the G train as well.
Would there be any hookup? Yeah, they have those old stations in the Rockaways that are not used anymore. I don't know what it used to be, the A train extension or whatever. Is there gonna be any hookup with those? I mean, where would it?
Let's go over the A train track.
Right, they'll use the A train tracks.
And where's the terminus in Rockaway?
Either Far Rockaway, Mott Avenue, or the Rockaway Park Beach 116th.
Oh, so there'll be 2? Or
There are.
down to Far Rockaway?
Yeah, there are 2 branches of the A train out there right now. It sees a measly 3 trains an hour in the midday for a supposed rapid transit system. But yeah, there are stations there very underutilized, and this would basically be bringing.
And they have those Long Island Railroad stations that are not used in decades.
They are used.
I thought they shut down.
No, but
Well,
one of
this
them.
is the Long Island Railroad line that we would be reactivating with.
Right,
service.
but there is one that goes to one end of. the
Yeah.
Yes.
The Far Rockaway Bridge.
Right. You
So-
go through Brooklyn also, just like the A train.
Yes.
Right.
I think what this means for us is it's a connection to the A train, right? Or it uses the line the A train uses. And if you want to go to the south part of Rockaway, you don't have to change to the S train.
Yeah.
Right. And it also,
Is that you can get to the beach. you can get to the casino, you can get to the airport,
Right.
and you can visit friends and family and whatever, and cool places to eat and stuff down.
Also, it just means a 50% increased capacity in Western Queens on the Queens Boulevard line as well. So that'll be extremely beneficial, especially as the neighborhoods keep growing.
So really the bulk of this new study, we're gonna be releasing soon is economic analysis of the line. So basically saying, does it make sense to build this line? Because obviously transit is very expensive to build, but we know that the economic growth that stems from these lines is often very powerful. And so just at a very high level, the study found that Queenslink could deliver up to $2.20 of benefit to the broader society for every $1 of investment, which is a fairly high cost benefit ratio.
Over what
you compare
period
to
of
it.
time?
This is done over over about 30 years, which is the regular evaluation period for these kinds of projects. They found that Queenslink would save almost 1 million minutes per year for Queens residents. And so that, because you're able to get places faster, you're able to get to work much more quickly. That, directly puts more money into your pockets and also allows you to, have access to more, more opportunities. And so the time savings equivalent is almost $5 billion there. So already you're getting a lot of worth out of this project. It would also create $9 billion in total economic output for the New York City economy, and that figure is just from the construction of the project alone. For a study like this, we actually don't go into broader secondary economic ramifications there. It's just very hard to determine at this stage in the project, but over 9 billion just from the construction. So you can really see how much the project is starting to benefit the borough there. We're talking about $1 billion in health and quality of life benefits, 780 million in congestion and environmental benefits. And this all, of course, creates a stronger economic situation in Queens, increases tax revenue for the city and state, and it brings you access to opportunity. It allows you to open up additional maybe job opportunities that you may not have considered before, going to college or visiting friends, and that you wouldn't have been able to easily get to before this project. And so how exactly do these benefits tie into CP2? So obviously, we all know the One LIC plan, which is set to bring thousands of additional homes to the district over here. And really, we heard a bit about the stormwater upgrades and DOT improvements that are going to happen in the district to hopefully carry the load of all these homes. But in terms of transit access, there are very few options in this area of Queens where you could improve in order to basically offset, how many people you're bringing into the district. And so this is one of those ways where we can use existing infrastructure that we already have. So you guys won't even bear the burden of these construction impacts, but you're getting that additional train service here. And so that will really help you there. Additionally, in regard to City of Yes, that also increases kind of zoning around train stations. And so that's another that's just another aspect to think about. We know that people have opinions on this that very, that differ very broadly. And so we're here not to say that we necessarily support or oppose this, but rather to say that this is coming. And really in the case of One LIC and City of Yes, they already have happened, and they will be coming down the line. And so we're saying that these are ways that you can, turn those projects into direct investment and additional benefit for the community here. Obviously, we all know about existing redevelopment on Queens Boulevard across this district. So again, by improving capacity on the Queens Boulevard lines, we're going to we're gonna be able to carry the load of all those new homes here. And most importantly, maybe not most, but for you guys, this is a very big benefit. QueensLink would allow the G train to return to Queens Boulevard and terminate at Forest Hills all the time. Basically, I know a lot of us are aware that there's been a push recently to extend the G train to Forest Hills on weekends to help bring inter-borough and inter-neighborhood connectivity here. And with QueensLink, we'd basically be able to have that full time instead of just on the weekends. So yeah, this dovetails very nicely into a lot of the activism work that's already happening in the district here. This is our page of lawmakers and organizations that do support us. This is a little bit out of date in that some people, you'll notice that the mayor is on here and he's listed as just an assembly member. But this is an accurate, for the most part, an accurate representation of our support across the board. And you'll notice how many different lawmakers and organizations from really all across the political spectrum here. I know he's no longer a council member, but former council member Bob Holden was a supporter of the project. And of course, you have the current mayor as a supporter during his tenure as assembly member. And so you really have as broad of a coalition as you can get in New York City who support this project. You'll notice that your council member is not on this list. And so maybe that's something you can help us out.
Have you had discussions on that?
We've reached out in the past.
It's been, well, we don't know why. We have reached out and we haven't gotten much attention. So, the elected officials on there, some of them are ardent supporters. And some, have been willing to, you know, support our getting funding for something, but they're, you know, they don't do much.
Less than ardent.
Yeah.
That's right. They're the two biggest opponents were former Mayor Adams, who proposed using the same rail corridor for a
Park,
park only use.
So that whole right of way that you see in green on the screen, he wanted to turn that basically into a park only, which would basically make it so that you can't build the transit there. And you would no longer be able to connect North and South Queens. Because this is really the only opportunity that we have.
The other person that was.
The biggest one is Lynn Schulman on the city council. Hevesy has also supported the park plan, but wasn't his baby quite as much as it was Lynn. And I think that it's funny, Senator Adabo did a informal poll a couple of years ago, which had remarkably similar results to a more scientific poll that was done 10 years earlier by Queens College. And in both cases, you know, like the transit use or transit and park was, you know, 75%, and the park only was less than
25.
right? So, but that, and that was the same in each of the, you know, his district spans almost the entire area where the right of way is. So, but all the neighborhoods within it was the same, whether you were in Forest Hills, where Lynn's from and Hevesy are from, or down in Ozone Park. Everybody wants transit, and that was what we learned when we did all this outreach there. You know, we did a lot of tabling and green markets and stuff like that.
And we continue to as well.
Right.
We've seen across the board overwhelming support when you go out and actually talk to people. This is really a project that stretches across the entire borough. Because, you know, it doesn't only affect Forest Hills and Ozone Park and the Rockaways, even though predominantly that's where construction will be taking place. But it's also an opportunity for Western and Northern Queens to be brought into the fold, to have these very vital transit connections to the rest of the borough, which don't exist right now. So, this is something that we really need to be thinking about in community board two, as a way to benefit these communities as well. In
One
Western.
of the things that I've found with these various projects is it's just plain confusing. I just don't know which is which. I mean, the one the governor is talking about and.
That's the
so-
IDX, the Interborough
Yeah,
Express,
right.
different project.
Totally,
Totally
but,
different
but,
project.
but still in Queens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Queens Way was sort of the competitor to.
Right, to
your-
Queensland.
Is there a third one or?
There was some talk about another one on the Montauk Branch
Lower
line,
Montauk, that one?
which goes from
Uh,
Long Island City to Jamaica.
Oh,
That's actually-
what I was thinking. It goes along the rail by Newtown Creek and so on.
Yeah.
That's the one
Right.
that has one train a day.
It doesn't
Right
have
now.
any.
No, the Montauk Branch does.
It's
It's right where
But
I
it doesn't have any passenger rail.
Right.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
it's one train a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Used to, there was an
Yeah,
old stop a
right.
couple of blocks from me and
Okay.
the freight trains go by once a
So
day
is
and rattle my
is that project defunct then, or is that?
They're not,
Just-
it's not active.
Yeah, it's not active.
So in
Close.
order for me to use this line, or anybody who's south of Northern Boulevard, because the G train is on the other side of Northern Boulevard, I would have to take the 7 train to 74, and go down and get up, and then get it from there.
Exactly.
Where does the 7 near you?
7 is
Yeah.
here.
So.
Right, so the 7, I see what you're saying, okay.
Yeah, so I'd have to take the 74.
Where,
to
and the
go
E
down
is
to
not
Dublin.
near you with the end.
By the way, in regards to your question about the lower Montauk
Yeah.
branch, it's on the map here. If you look at, in the very middle, sort of like the railroad tracks that you see going, stretching across the screen.
Right, near Forest Park.
The thing that's going through Forest Park, that's the lower Montauk. And so actually, like, there is a way that this would intersect with Queenslink and you'd actually get a station there to
Benefit, yeah.
to connect to the lower
Okay,
Montauk.
cause that's
That
the
ever-
one that's in Forest.
Yeah,
Park.
yeah, yeah.
So-
So if that ever one day became activated again for passenger rail, you'd have a connection to Queenslink. There.
So what can we do for you?
Hold on, we have, Corey has his hand up.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure we're at the end of the presentation, and I'm not missing anything, before I ask my question.
We're done with.
We're basically done. yeah.
Okay, good. So, I am strongly in support of this proposal. I used to live in South Slope, Brooklyn, and loved taking the F train to Coney Island, and it was like a short 40-minute trip, 1-seat ride. Now I live in Sunnyside, and it's no matter what beach I pick, it's a 90-minute trip, right? And I look forlornly at the underutilized corridor here and wish that I could get down to Rockaway Beach, which is Queens's beach, right? That's our beach. And I feel like this borough is just so split into two, right? There's like the southern half of it, that's that whole A train corridor. And then there's the northern western part, which is like the 7 train and the N and all the rest that we live in, right? And it's just not fair that they're not linked up into a cohesive borough. I think the economic argument is really strong. There's so many people that would benefit from all of the job growth in Long Island City if they could only get to it efficiently. And I think it's a no-brainer to activate this corridor. Obviously, the elephant in the room is the Queensway project. It has funding behind it. It's identified in the DOT's Greater Greenways Plan. Full disclosure, I used to work for Tri-State Transportation Campaign, which is a co-sponsor, like we support this project, but we're also on the New York City Greenways Coalition. The Greenways Coalition supports Queensway, right? We all want projects that are feasible, that have momentum to get built. We don't want to kill a good project because we might get funding for a better one later. So I think that's my concern, is how do we bridge that divide, right? Is there a way to get you guys to be talking with the Greenways Coalition? No, with the Greenways Coalition, not necessarily the Queensway group, but just in terms of finding a way to create the sort of, do these trail projects in a way that doesn't obviate the ability to do the rail corridor later, right? I know you guys are talking about rail and trail. So that's something I'd like to discuss more And I was actually talking about this project with Bobby Preddy, who is another advocate in the neighborhood with Families for Safe Streets, who also struggles to take his family to the beach and just doesn't do the bus anymore because it's just such a nightmare. And he actually takes the Long Island Railroad out to Long Beach, and pays all that money just to take his family to the beach because it's easier. And maybe there's something to the fact that the Queens Way, the trail, is very tangible, right? Everyone loves a park, and it's hard to sell to someone how they're going to benefit, right? And I wonder if it'd be possible to make some kind of tool. I know when the Queens bus redesign happened, the MTA put out a tool where you could plug in, like, I want to go here. How long does it take me to get there now? How long will it take me to get there under the new plan? I think if people had an easy way to see how much time they personally would save with QueensLink, it would just be so clear and such a no-brainer to everyone in Queens how good this would be. So I know that's a rambling comment, but like, you have my enthusiastic support. I would make a motion for our committee to support this project. But yeah, in any way I can help or we can help, I'd be enthusiastic support of it.
So regarding your comment about the time travel savings, our upcoming report will actually have a page, a graphic where it'll show you, trips that currently take, upwards of an hour and a half. And then what that would look like with QueensLink. And so one of them is like even, Steinway Street on the M&R to downtown Brooklyn. That would actually be an increase or a huge time savings just because you're bringing the G back to Queens Boulevard. And then other trips like say Elmhurst to where you have, Queens Center Mall, and so that's sort of also Rico Park. But that area down to the Rockaways, you also see a huge time savings there. So it'll be able to break that down a bit more in a granular manner.
And I know Councilmember One's rep has her hand up, so I'll just say one last thing real quick. Another thing that I'm really excited about with this project is getting to Forest Park, which is my favorite park in the whole city, and it's such a pain to get to from Sunnyside, where you have to take like the 7 to the E and then walk 15 minutes or get on a bus, and like just having a 1-seat ride to Forest Park, this like amazing huge park that is inaccessible to people that live in Western Queens, especially Sunnyside that has no major parks.
What about Lulu Dottie?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I just think that's another huge selling point to West Queens is access to Forest Park by train.
Really important point, because like people were saying earlier today during this meeting, there's just so little access to parks in Long Island City and Western Queens. So if we could open up this transit corridor to get people in Western Queens connected to Forest Park, which I agree is maybe one of the most beautiful parks in the world, absolutely, that would be such an amazing benefit for the entire borough.
Sorry, one other thing, because I know you mentioned getting in touch with the Greenways Coalition. We would love to talk with them. We're always open to working with others to make this as beneficial of a project as possible. And I would also like to emphasize that this is a both option. So we are in this vision basically contemplating having both rails and trails here. So we very much see the value in having both. That's why we're here at the table to begin with.
Right, it's really a false choice between whether you can have the train or the park. It's a false dichotomy, basically. You can have both. And so we don't actually need to be choosing between one or the other. There's a way to do both, and there's a way to design the park, which does have funding. There's a way to design that park so that it doesn't preclude the ability to reactivate the train in the future as well.
Which is not what the Parks Department is doing now.
Right, but with the change in the mayoral administration, I think there's a lot of hope that there's going to be a priority on centering transit as part of the park build out.
So for this year is kind of critical for this project because, well, first of all, we have a new mayor who has supported us in the past and still get a rally for us at City Hall. And because the park is Queens Way Park only proposal, the first phase is supposed to begin construction at the end of the year. So we have asked the mayor's office to modify, at least stop and study this, you know, we can get our meeting. And to, they could delay the park if they decide to go ahead with this, or they could just modify what they do so that it, you know, there's a way to get the bike lane, which is what people really want immediately, is a better bike access from Forest Hills to Forest Park. And you could get that without building things that would have to be torn down if they wanted to go ahead with the transit project in 5 years. I mean, and who's gonna want it? It's both a waste of money and also giving up something you love is a really big deal.
Yeah, once the park is built, there's not gonna be, no one's tearing down the park to put a train there. So it's important to do it at this critical juncture to build that train in conjunction with the park.
I do want to hear,
yeah,
Teresa
Teresa.
from Julie Wan's office,
Oh,
as your hand up. Thanks for waiting.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just want to say, so I'm actually new to the team and was not part of any discussions that were had previously about this, but I will go back to my team. If I could just get this latest copy of the presentation, that would be really great. And I promise to check back with my team and get you guys an update.
Hi,
Teresa.
It's Julie. Email address that we send it to.
Hey Teresa, it's me. I'm on. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Councilmember Wong.
Julie?
Hello.
Hi, I just want to make sure that I was on, and I'm also getting I'm getting triggered by the Zoom link saying Deborah Markel Kleinhardt. But okay, I'll leave it at that. But I just wanted to make sure that I set the record straight, that I have never said that I'm against the Queensway.
Never did.
It's No, I never did. So I want to make sure that that's on record, that I'm not being misrepresented. It's not my district. So until the council member of that district comes out in support, most council members will continue to have respect for the member that represents that district. So in general, for the idea of it, I'm in support of it. I want to make sure that I speak to my colleague who represents that district, make sure that she is in support. And the general idea of it, I'm in support. That this will take a lot of funding from the state and the city. So the funding channels will be reliant on the members that represent the district to make it happen. But overall, I think it's good in support of the idea, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being misrepresented by this project. Thank you.
Yeah, Councilmember Juan, I just wanted to apologize about that. Our intention was absolutely not to say that you did not support the project at all. It was simply that we had not gotten your support yet for the project. And I would also like to add at this time that there is no one council member who represents this district. The right of way is split across multiple different council districts. A lot of other districts have supported and continue to support the project there. And really, at the end of the day, as we've emphasized in this presentation, this is an issue that affects the entire borough. It is not an issue that is relegated to a single council district there.
And as we all know, the mayor represents the entire borough and city, and he has in the past been supportive of this project as well. So
What we would like, I mean.
So thank you, Councilmember Wong, for joining in
thank you.
and weighing in on that. We were certainly going to be in touch with you about it, after we discussed among the committee how we feel about it. So it's nice to have, clarity, which I was not, under the impression you were against it, just that we hadn't heard from you on it. Thank you very much. And Teresa, we'll make sure that, this crew sends that, link to you for Queens Link.
So I just wanted to say that we're here today because this is such a crucial year for this project. And we have this new research about its benefits for Queens as a whole. We thought it was really important to make sure we did more outreach to Queens as a whole. for the most part, we've been focused on either the neighborhoods along the right of way or maybe down in the Rockaways, which is the biggest beneficiary because they're so cut off. And the inequities of their treatment are unbelievable. So, we feel like we want to take it, you know, we're going to community board 1 next week. I have requested 3 and 4. 6, and I think 8. Right, and then there are some of the others which border the right of way, we've been to many times. So, what we would love is if we could send you, we'll give you our old thing which explains the project, but not the new research. And we'll send you the presentation which summarizes the new research, and pretty soon there'll be news reports with more data. We would love it if, after you study all that, you wanted to bring this before the board as a whole. We would love to have an outcry across Queens for this project, coming from community boards, among other things.
Sure.
So that's sort of our ask of you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate, as Dr. Ross said, just being clear on exactly which project this is, what it entails, because it's not in our district, but it affects our district. A lot of people in our district are not aware of it. So we just hear vaguely about things happening throughout parts of Queens that we don't have access to. So we're like, okay, I'm happy for them. It's really nice to know exactly what's going on. And we have just come through a year where we did a lot of discussion about one LIC and zoning and how many more people are coming here and how little room there is to grow the transit system and the subway system, and to find that there's a whole line that has not really been adapted yet. It's really nice to hear. So thank you so much for coming here. If anybody has any more questions, but we are past 8 o'clock now,
Yeah.
so we do want to make sure it's not too late in the evening for everybody.
Sorry, one thing I forgot to mention before.
Yeah.
We do want to request a letter from the community board because we are going with the Court Square project to Public Design Commission. So that,
Thank you so much for saying that.
that's part of our request.
We might have missed it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Are you gonna do community outreach?
Oh, we do tons of it, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just said we haven't been doing it up here a lot.
Yeah.
We were focused more on the but we
In
will
those
be.
neighborhoods.
So this is part of a beginning effort, and if we got to speak to the whole community board and then there was, you know, news coverage of that would help, and we can do things at, you know, street fairs and green markets up here too. I mean,
I mean, like Miriam was saying, like most of our outreach has been predominantly in that right of way area. But we have been having internal discussions about trying to move that a little bit westward and get some, you know, community outreach, like you said, so important to like
Especially
make.
with summer coming.
Exactly, and so important to make sure that people in this area also understand what the benefits are, because like you said, like the project is in this eastern portion of Queens, the central eastern portion of Queens, but really it's actually here as well, right? Like we talked about, like, it would create so much capacity here. Also, the project, if there's one takeaway, the project is in Western Queens.
Yeah. And I'm just imagining a poster that says "Visit the Rockaways
Yeah.
Beach,
right.
Queenslink."
Yes.
You know, you can use that.
Thank you.
If you
but-
could get the MTA to put it in the subways.
Well, we have to tell them.
That was my question too, because you're talking a lot about city elected officials. What does the state say? What does the governor say? Because the MTA is.
Right.
We've had tremendous state support as well. For example, Jennifer Rajkumar, who's one of the representatives in that portion of central and southern Queens. She actually came out with a statement in support of Queenslink. When was that today?
Well, she wants to do something with fixing up Atlantic Avenue, which is a real dump.
Uh-huh.
And this would have make it better. It would bring in, tie it in better transportation wise, which allows for upgrades to happen, economic upgrades and stuff, so, and development, could be good development. And, Leroy Connery, who was the chair of the committee that oversees the MTA, has been very supportive and helped us get federal money for, and James Sanders in the state senate also, and then a bunch of others. I think the assemblyman here, Stephen Rada, has been supportive.
And then we had Zoran Mambani when he was the assembly.
Yeah,
He
right.
also was extremely supportive.
Everybody down south in the Rockaways and Ozone Park and Richmond Hill is supportive. And then a bunch that are further away. And it's mostly in Forest Hills, which is blessed with beautiful parks and great transit, which has been a problem, even though the population is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would also like to note that, oftentimes with projects like this, where it spans, between the city and the state, there can be a bit of finger pointing at each other. And that's kind of what we've run into. The land that the project would be built on is city-owned land, and ever since the previous mayoral administration greenlit the opposing scheme, the state has been really unwilling to wade into the waters there, because it is ultimately the city's land. It's the city's decision to decide what to do with it. However, it is the MTA's responsibility to construct a large-scale transit line like this. And so really, a project like this is going to need cooperation between city and state levels. That there's really no way around that. And
federal.
Yes, and
The
federal.
mayor
but-
and governor get along pretty well, so,
And president.
yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
funny?
So all the stars are aligned.
Right,
here.
yeah.
So, I will give you some of these for each of you, and if you want to keep them for the people that are not, here on purpose, in person, they can get it.
So much.
And we'll send you the,
Yes.
that.
Is there an online link to this? Because if you put that
everything in
to
it-
people who are
Yeah.
hybrid, you'll be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you just go to queenslink.org, you have all the access to all the information. as well.
Well, I don't think the pamphlet is
But
in there,
all of
but
the information.
all the
Yeah.
information is on the website.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is,
I think you should.
This one, right?
Stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
Stand
Yeah.
waiting for the train, they
Yeah.
look around, they read.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna say thank you so much. Thank you very much. It was very, very informative, and I think you have a lot of support here from what I'm hearing. So I appreciate it. We'll just continue now. We're going to discuss
Can you just give us,
business.
Teresa's email?
We got it.
Oh.
Do you have it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
All right, and Maury, you have your hand up?
You guys probably want to.
You don't have to, but you're welcome to stay.
Fine.
But me too. Maury, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Miriam. Long time no see. Nice to see you, Miriam.
How are you? I was just talking about you the other day.
Uh-oh.
Only good things.
Thanks. I think, I don't know how we decide as a committee to approach this, but, obviously there's a few different plans. Dr. Roz mentioned it. I think it would probably be an idea for us to, look at all of them, and maybe when we decide to do the resolution, and if we're addressing this one, maybe the way we proceed with it is asking the state to fund it, because maybe that's the idea. Like if we make a resolution from our committee asking the state to give it funding, that gives the power of the purse, and that gives it shows what we're thinking, and then maybe we can get electeds to join if we can get funding for it, or at least the state to look at it for funding. And maybe, talking to some of the folks running for state offices now.
Yeah.
I guess the challenge also is that it definitely goes through, it benefits us as residents of Sunnyside and Woodside and in our district here. But then the one challenge is a lot of it benefits and is for Forest Hills and some of the more eastern areas. And I'm guessing from what the council member was pointing out, it's kind of like, as residents of this area, we wouldn't want other areas telling us, coming in and telling us, do this or don't do this in our community. So maybe a good way to approach it is kind of thinking of getting it funded, and then we support it from that perspective.
I may add, that's a great option that you have there. In fact, the other community boards who do support the project, which are Community Board 6, I believe 10 and 14 in Queens, what they did is I think passed a resolution supporting our ask for the project to be moved forward. And which the next step for this project would be to fund an environmental impact statement. So basically that's the route that they took. So that's something that you guys are more than welcome to mirror on your level. And I would also like to add that it's not necessarily, one part of the borough speaking over another. Because obviously we have the support of Community Board number 6, which does encompass Forest Hills and Regal Park and some of the areas. Whereas, the council member from that area does not support it. So it's more fragmented than that. And it's not just, one person is drowning out other people's voices. We welcome voices from all of Queens. And we want to make this as beneficial of a project as possible for the entire borough, because really this is a borough-wide project.
That's Councilmember Schulman, that's the problem.
At this juncture, yes.
And I mean, I can understand why our council, that's part of the way they operate, but in the past, we've seen other projects where she has refused to take a public position in supported and then later voted in favor. So, I don't know.
All right. Good point, Maury. I'm just trying to think. It's hard to ask for anything in this city that doesn't affect somebody else in the city.
Yeah.
No, like you have to constantly think about, but we've asked for things like universal daylighting that affect people.
Yeah.
Drivers who don't have access to transit. So it's, it's a good.
But that's more universal, right? Like it's a bigger, but I see what you're saying, because it's also, we get a benefit from it and other districts would get a benefit. I'm wondering if any community board districts that are west of CB5 are supporting it. But I would also say, before we even decide whether we should support it or not, we should probably look at the different plans. And I'm guessing the IBX will get funding because it's the governor's plan, basically. Well, not her plan, but
I think IBX is just moving forward. I think it's pretty done.
It is also it is a separate project from this. It is a separate right of way.
Yeah.
It does affect Queens, but why can't we have it all?
Yeah, why not? We want nice things. So it's about, maybe we should look at both plans and be able to make a decision, because we don't want to support, but if there's two plans that are competing, then maybe we should make a decision which one we're gonna.
I think the most functional thing that we can say is, in light of this report that shows higher projected ridership than previously estimated by the MTA, we would encourage them to reevaluate the prioritization of this project, and move it up in their prioritization, right?
Are you making that as a motion?
No, I'm in the discussion right now.
Yeah, I just think that's a strong ask to the state. This project exists in their database. The issue is they evaluated it and said it's not enough ridership for it to be as high priority as other projects. And the impact of this new report is that, hey, actually the ridership might be much higher than you think. And so we could support that by being like, we believe them and we would like you to reevaluate, right?
Corey, to your point, I think also that that was interesting in the presentation where it talked about Lieber saying only 3%, but most people are going into Manhattan. But it's kind of like catch-22, right? If you have no way to get somewhere in Queens on the weekend, you're not going to get there. So you're not going to have ridership. I mean, are we that dumb? No. Come on, Lieber.
Right.
So maybe that's the point. That's the strategy that we put out, that to look at it because but do we wait till it comes out before and wait till next month or what?
I think if you're asking to wait, if we want to wait a month and do homework on Queens Lake, if you feel more comfortable with that, I think that's fine. Our full board meeting is in 2 days.
I also think another ask to the city could be, you know, we're very interested in the potential for this rail project. And we would like the allowance for this project to be part of the design of the, you know, Queensway the Queensway Trail project, Greenway project, right? That's another constructive ask to the city, is to say, hey, don't like kill this in the bud. You know, we support greenways, but we want to make sure that we're allowing for this potential larger citywide benefit project also.
That's what concerns me. I mean, it sounded like there's a bit of a, you know, time frame involved. Not that we have to do it this month, but maybe by next month. Because, right? I mean, would that be accurate? I mean, because if they.
When do they think the green is going to be starting?
They're gonna start construction in late 2026, based on their latest information they've given.
That's this year. I mean, you know, and they're starting,
And
you say construction, that's quite a
And
bit.
the New York City Greenways Coalition just put out a Greenways scorecard, and one of the Queens asks is like, hey, first 100 days, like move the Queensway project forward, which again makes sense for that coalition because they want the greenways to get built. But like they're putting pressure on the Mamdani administration to speed that project along. So a well-timed point of just like, hey, we support that project too, but like, let's just do it the right way. Let's make sure we don't like snuff the possibility for a rail activation. You know, that could be well timed.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes. Maury, do you feel comfortable taking a month and voting on it then?
Yeah, I think if
Not that there's a motion on the table, but.
Well, the thing I like also about taking a month is that we might have more teeth in it by then, and we might know some more. And then when we come back to the full board, if we want to, you know, whether we decide to just support it as a committee or we go to the full board in April, then you know, maybe it'll have a stronger emphasis if we're able to make a recommendation and the full board votes on it.
I will say, I think that the full board meeting comes before our meeting
No.
next month.
Oh, no, Passover.
For April?
We have to move the date. We have to move the date. We can't be on April 2nd. Full board.
For April, yeah, the full board meeting is on the 2nd.
No,
and
it can't be. That's Passover.
So you're saying on the 2nd is Passover. so the full board.
Right, yeah.
Whereas our transportation meeting is during spring break.
April.
It's always tough to.
Yeah.
No, well.
So
we'll have to have the meeting, the full board on the 9th?
Probably, I think that's the idea. I've been drawing it to
spring break.
attention because, you know, I just don't think we could have it on the first day of Passover.
Yeah.
No, definitely don't want to have it the first day or two. I mean, it's easier to have it on the last day or two, but for some people, they observe the first two and the last two, but like you're more likely to be able to do it on the last two.
Yeah.
Are you very concerned if this letter comes out in 2 months?
I will say that you will have the entire report out by that time, and you will also see how the press coverage, you know, turns out at that point.
Yeah.
So if we were to do research so that we know what we're talking about, in order to convince them to include this in the Greenway, we have to really research ourselves what Greenway is about, what Queensway is
Queensway.
about, and what other one is involved in this. Is
Yeah.
there any other one that's close by that would be involved in it?
Not that I can think.
Yeah, I think as a committee, and it wouldn't be 2 months because the committee usually votes on these things and sends out a letter. It's rare that we bring something to the full board that they'll vote on. We can talk to the full board chair to see if he'd like this presentation presented to the full board, depending on how busy meetings are.
Well, that would be another way. I mean, and next month, we're gonna have some turnover as well, but I don't know that we have turnover on this committee. We will be encouraging new members to come to committees, but they won't be assigned.
Okay, so why don't we just wait for next month? We'll let everybody do your own research and bring it to the meeting and we'll discuss it then. Sounds like I'm in full support. It sounds like most people are.
you.
But I do want to give time because there is a competing project that's already been funded. And if we don't know about it, then people would feel more comfortable before they make a vote.
I mean, I was suggesting to, that we bring these to the full board meeting even this month. I mean, and, the more attention we can bring to the full board. So maybe you can try to get on the agenda for April, for the full board.
Yeah.
Regardless of what we do, then.
For sure.
Another idea is you could make a preliminary recommendation to the board at this point. So that's something you could do to just get the process moving.
For sure, yeah.
I would think when you do your committee report, you can say, we met with this, we were kind, we liked it, we want to. And as much as possible about it, right?
Yeah, Randy.
Riley, would we be able to maybe, since there's an indeterminate amount of time between now and when we could actually send a letter of support or not for either of the ways, could we make a motion that we could send a letter to Parks in support of not doing any work that could possibly halt or block any future mass transit usage of this right of way or something to that effect as we study the options of this right of way, something like that, just
Seconded.
saying, great.
A motion,
Discussion.
second and discussion.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea to ask the parks not to make any abrupt construction or move forward on anything until these ideas are resolved.
I'm sure that doing their work, I mean, they can do a lot of things that won't eclipse the possibility of having the Queenslink. So I'm very much in support of that.
How about a friendly amendment that the motion is for the city to not progress on the Queensway project until the full report and information have been fully presented to the people of CB2 in New York City?
Did Queensway come here and speak to us?
No.
Oh,
Well,
did they or would they? Maybe they should. They put it off a little while.
who are they?
I'm thinking about that friendly amendment because I think the thing that I would want to make sure to go in there is the bit about, I think it's the sense of at least me, and I think I heard from you, Corey, of like, we all want parks, we all want transportation, we all want choice. Can we not take affirmative steps forward that would preclude any future use? So that's like, I would love some sort of language in there about like don't reduce future possibilities until the report is out before we could, as we're studying it, something like that.
Yeah, I support that. I don't think they have to tell them to not begin the project. They just.
Right, I think the
make sure that
project.
they-
Yeah.
They don't do anything in the project. I mean, they can't do it. They're not gonna start the project all in one moment completely,
No. And in fact, the only section that has been funded and is ready to go to construction and capacity at this point is a very small section of the project, which is less than half a mile long between Metropolitan Avenue and Union Turnpike. It doesn't even actually get to Forest Park itself.
Would it parkland or
Yes,
would it
it would.
eclipse, but would it eclipse the possibility
Yes.
for Queensland?
Yes, it would. So, and that little section, I mean, that's the only part that's been funded. The full build out of the entire thing is going to take $500 million and multiple decades at the current rate of progress in order to be fully constructed. But the reason why that one section, and it's a very strategic location, which we can only assume is partially why they chose it, is because it is not directly against any neighboring homes along the right of way. And B, for us, for this project, in our, you know, in our research, in our consultation with the community, in our just efforts to make this as beneficial of a project as possible, we determined that that location is the location where you would need to build what is called a tunnel boring machine launch box, which is a very technical thing, but basically it means that since we are connecting this line up to an existing underground subway line, we need to build a short tunnel just to get the line to connect up there. And in order to do that, you have to launch these giant tunnel boring machines. I'm sure you saw that for the, you know, the Second Avenue subway when they did that. But they need a location where they can lower that into the ground and then send it along its way. And the site that the Queensway has chosen for the beginning of the park project, the park only project, I should say, is the location that we have determined would actually be best suited for that. And there are a lot of reasons as to why that location is best suited for it, but I'm not going to get into all of them, but I will say that one of the biggest ones is because that tunnel launch box, because it is a giant like concrete casing, it is a very heavy piece of infrastructure. You have to build it, you know, to a very, I mean, it has to be very strong already. And in most projects that kind of just gets left behind. But in this case, if we locate it there, it can actually become the station at Metropolitan Avenue later on. And so it's a very unique way of maybe not unique, but it's a very strategic way of reusing infrastructure that you're already going to be building in order to do one part of the project to then facilitate another part of the project. And so if it was done in any other way, you would basically be duplicating more work. As we've learned from the Second Avenue subway, one of the biggest, pretty much the biggest cost driver to that project was the stations themselves. And by, you know, by basically sequencing this and making sure you can use this as efficiently and as smartly as possible, that's just one of the many reasons why we
So there really is a time.
Yes.
It's not that they
Yes.
could do other things.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And thank you
You
for
raised that idea.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question about the elephant in the room that we haven't really addressed? And I'm hoping that Nicole, is that Nicole, right?
Noel, yes.
Noelle, sorry, I don't know why I said Nicole.
You're good. I get it all the time.
My eyes are like it's late. So it seems like some folks think that with the demographics and the economics of Forest Hills is kind of putting pressure not to have a transit project go through a wealthy neighborhood, and that we see this often. And I grew up in outside of Baltimore, and there's a lot of thinly veiled. I don't even know what to call it, but everything from social discrimination to racial discrimination that comes up when you have a wealthy neighborhood and putting transit through it. And I wonder if some of that is what's happening with some of the pushback. I don't know. I don't know the history of it, but I would hate for that to be the truth, and to prevent a project that's going to benefit a lot of people.
I will say that has been the popular narrative across a lot of members of the community so far. However, during our outreach and the poll that was done by State Senator Joe Adalbo, it actually showed that residents in Forest Hills and Rego Park, they still do overwhelmingly support QueensLink compared to those in the South. So I'm gonna let you make the determination and decide as to what is going on there. However, there are plenty of people in Forest Hills and Rego Park who do support the project. If you go to our Instagram, you can see and this was also in news articles, you can see actually the breakdown of by zip code for that specific poll that was done. You can see that you know, some zip codes may vary between like 68 to like 80% supportive of QueensLink. It is, I don't think there's a single zip code in which the support for QueensLink dips below 60%. And then this also comes from a lot of just on the ground involvement in the community. We've done so many events all across the borough, really, to connect with community members. And in my personal experience there, I would say that 99% of people, when they hear about the project, they are immediately supportive of the project.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that because
I'm inclined to support, and if everybody else is, I would table the current motion and just support, but there is a motion on the floor, and we could vote for that. And just because we're in discussion, the reason I would support is because the QueensLink, as we saw, retains parks. It adds a benefit to the city of New York City. The M train goes from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yeah, Brooklyn to Queens, all through the entire city. This affects everybody. Once you build a park, you don't get that train anymore. But if you build the train, you get a park, and you get part of a greenway. So, you know, if I were making a different motion, it would be in support of QueensLink that also brings in the elements of the Queensway that are popular, including a greenway. I will add that there's a greenway expansion project where the city is looking for opportunities for greenways in Queens and Brooklyn, in the outer boroughs. And there are greenways coming, definitely. I don't know if Queensway was part of that idea. But anyway, there's a motion on the floor. Discussion continues. Randy.
Right, Riley, just to make it clear, your as part of your discussion, if I withdraw my motion, you will make a motion to support the presentation as is. If you would make that motion, I would second it and support that motion for what we saw.
Okay, I think yes. I think as chair, I would just make the decision to have a vote and see how we feel.
Okay, I withdraw my motion.
Excellent, thank you so much. I make a motion to support the QueensLink project. And CB2 asks that elements of the Queensway project that are popular, such as a greenway and public parks adjacent to the property, to the land, are made part of the QueensLink project as much as possible.
I second that motion.
All right, discussion. Sorry, Maury.
No, I was going to ask a question, so I'm glad you recognized.
So is it, I mean, I think elements of what Randy's motion was could easily be.
Madam Vice Chair, I believe I was recognized with all.
Oh, sorry.
respect.
Oh, I didn't see your.
Sorry, I paused and you took over. Go ahead, Maury.
Is it okay, Roz?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I think
Thanks, Dr. Ross. Okay. No, I just want to say that while I would like to support it, and I'm tempted to use this recognition to table it, I think that's disrespectful, and I personally don't like to table things until there's been a chance to discuss. But I will say that as a moment of discussion, I would just like to say I would like to see the report that's coming out from NYU before I make a decision. So I will probably support it, but I'm going to vote no at this point. And do we have quorum, by the way?
Do we have quorum? Well, it was in...
But respectfully, I would vote no, only because I want to be able to read the report, which I think
Yeah,
will give
I
us
totally
more-
understand.
I think it'll give us more strength. if,
Voted
like-
yes on Randy's motions?
What?
Would you have voted yes to Randy's motion?
Yeah, I think I would have. Because that gives us a little more time too.
If I can chime in, may I?
Sorry.
I recognize that we haven't seen the actual report. Just from my perspective, I was already inclined to support the QueensLink even before this report came out. The more friendly estimate of ridership only sweetens the deal. So, you know, I would urge a vote of support even without reading the report, just because on the merits, this is a good project for the city and for our district.
But not all of us have read and in detail all of it. So that's my point. So and we don't all work in the field. So we're lucky to have you on this committee.
I appreciate that, but I feel like we've made a lot of motions based on just presentations from experts. It's pretty much what we do. Which is why I feel comfortable making the motion. I have followed the Queens Link and Queensway business for the last couple of years. And yeah, I feel strongly that more transit is better. But I appreciate you saying everything, Maury.
Would you consider a friendly amendment?
Okay.
Because first of all, I don't think waiting a month will hurt us either way, and I think that'd be good. And it shows that we've been deliberative about it. But if we were going to vote on today, I would say a friendly amendment would be to kind of go along with this idea of that, you know, rather than just outright supporting it, that we encourage, say, the state to fund it and other folks to consider this project, rather than just outright supporting something where not all of us might know it completely.
Yes. I think I guess
sorry, that was
twisted. The summer problem we have is there's already a project funded and moving ahead. And
so what about what about the amendment of funding this study and funding, or even having the project funded? Like because if it's not funded, it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Although that seems like a contradiction. But
it's kind of a vicious circle, but the friendly motion that
Yes, I hear.
Sorry, Roz.
Let me hear from Roz.
No, my thought is simply to wrap Randy's proposal into your motion, that we're inclined to be favorable to this project, but at least we need to preserve the possibility of it continuing and not proceed in any way that will eclipse it, pending further study, et cetera.
Right, yeah. I think I would like a more strongly worded letter, and I may withdraw and say, let's just do this next month so everybody has an opportunity. I withdraw my motion. Let's take a month and everybody will have an opportunity. The timing sucks because we could present this to the board in 2 days, but now it's going to be maybe 2 months, depending on what happens.
Share information, starting with this.
I'll bring it up in the committee report that we had this presentation and a major discussion about it, and ask for any questions from the board about it.
I like that idea. And also other people might know about it already and other people may not, and it may encourage them to actually find out, and we'll get stronger support.
It's appropriate also to refer it to the Parks Committee, Parks and Recreation. Get their support, because in a sense, I mean, this is what we like to have their support, that,
Yeah.
That might be sure.
I don't know if Parks.
Sure, we would love to. And I would also like to clarify that the Parks Department is, the Queensway project will ultimately be Parks land. However, the capital construction project is currently being managed by New York City Economic Development Corporation. So it sounds like any letter or motion to the Parks Department would have to include them as well.
The Parks Committee tends to meet late in the month.
They'll meet on March 26th.
So you could,
Sure.
get to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And I think they mentioned earlier that they would like to present in front of the whole board. For April, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can talk to Chair Anatol to see if he has room for the inclination.
Especially if it's later, right?
Meeting is gonna be.
Yeah, so the thing is, the meetings always go up on the calendar as the first Tuesday for this and the first Thursday for that meeting, but then it has to be adjusted for holidays. All right, great. Thank you so much. I think a lot of us are in support, but it is a major project, and there's trepidation about voting for something without sufficient research. When does the report come out?
we're trying to nail down a specific release date. We've been looking at the week of March 16th. I would say that week is our goal at the moment.
But this month for sure.
Yes, and I would also like to add that we were planning on sending the report out beforehand to a bunch of elected officials and doing a huge outreach spurt at that moment, as well as community boards. So 6, 10, 14, and you guys included if you'd like, under the condition that, you know, it'd be kept, you know, not shared with the broader public at that point, but just in case you would be inclined to add a quote to our press release. So that is also a consideration.
Sure, yeah, thank you. I'll see what, I mean, I couldn't speak for the committee because we haven't voted for it, but I'll see what I can do.
Right, of course.
As an individual. But thank you very much. Thank you. I do want to move us on to quickly move through the Court Square presentation and anything else we have to talk about so we can hopefully clear up by 9 p.m. I'd like to make a motion in support of the Court Square pedestrianization project as planned. Although the committee does request a public restroom and bike parking facilities to be made part of the plan.
You say bike parking, you don't mean the bike racks, but what was the term used?
I'm being vague, but yeah, there's secure bike parking.
Secure bike parking. You want to say that? So
Yeah, I mean, do you second as I say?
I'll second whatever you say.
All right, and if anybody clean that up and add a, thank you. Clean that up and add an amendment about anything else we want to add. Discussion.
I think
Yeah,
this is gonna be an easy one.
Yeah, just a friendly amendment to mention the request to investigate a protected bike lane or a contraflow protected bike lane to connect with the DOT's planned Thompson Ave bike safety improvement project.
They ruled that out? Was that still something they could include?
Yeah, they said they'd look into it.
Yeah,
Riley, I have a question, point of
Alright.
information.
say.
Yeah, Maureen.
Can you clarify? I got a little confused with all the talk and the back and forth with the Thompson and 44th and the one way. And the one way, can somebody clarify? Can you tell me what that was?
Yeah, so right now, Thompson at Court Square East is
Right.
2-way. So they would change it to 1-way going towards Jackson Avenue. So it really just, it limits how much car traffic is there in the pedestrianization project.
Oh,
It changes people's routes a little bit, but it's an opportunity to narrow the street and increase the sidewalk space,
oh, that's good.
which is why they wanted to do it. The challenges are, as Corey pointed out, that there's no contraflow bike lane going back towards Thompson Avenue. That's about it. The public parking garage is still accessible. I know that a member had brought that up last month when I talked about this project.
Is that the one right behind the Court Square?
Yeah,
Yes.
The ones that they came and did a presentation, said they're gonna add all the electric chargers and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay.
I mean, the issue of the bikes, bikes coming down Thompson Ave from, say LaGuardia Community College. That's a tricky area in the first.
Yeah.
With this, are you proposing something, Corey, that would provide for bikes to be able to come from LaGuardia Community College to the courthouse?
Yeah, my point is DOT is already studying a protected bike lane on Thompson Avenue on the Sunnyside side of it, right? The eastern side of it. And there's a capital infrastructure project that's being planned also on Thompson Avenue. And the renderings they show don't acknowledge bikes at all. So I'm asking that they consider the ongoing DOT project when they do this design. because there's going to be a protected bike lane. And that is a draw for the courthouse and for the park and for all the subway lines and for the city bike rack. I mean, I have used that city bike rack, right? And I will be using Thompson Avenue when the Thompson Avenue bike lane's built. And I just know the way bikes behave, if someone's at that intersection and they're gonna use Thompson Avenue, they're not gonna go up and around 45th. They're just gonna cut either on the sidewalk or go the wrong way on the street, and no one wants that, right? So just build the infrastructure.
I accept that amendment.
I'm just throwing this into the chat. I don't know if you guys can see that at all.
What?
Oh, maybe I should share my, that's
It's
the
loading.
map. Is that the area?
Yes.
So are you saying that the part, so the Thompson Avenue part east of 44th Drive would be one way or
Yes.
west?
It'd be
Okay.
one way westbound.
One way, one way. Oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But you
I
see,
took a
like,
screenshot
cyclists
of it.
coming east from the park, they're not gonna go up Jackson and then turn right on Thompson and then like they're just gonna cut straight across.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just to
so-
clarify, it's from
Right.
44th Drive to Jackson, that is one way.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so 44th.
So as
So-
on the screen, the blue continues as it is, but the red is getting, sorry for those who don't see the colors. The red is getting rid of the eastward traffic and just turning west.
You can't
Yeah.
turn right on this part of Thompson anymore, is the proposal. You have to go to this light on 44th and take a right and then take a left.
And
Which
their point-
a lot of cars already do because it's like, unless you're coming into the lot right now, you go that way. It's a weird.
Yeah, I usually don't. If I'm driving, I don't do the blue line. I go up the other way, but I won't be able to do that in the future, right?
They're essentially filling in the westbound lane and making it a sidewalk.
Yeah. This part here, this travel lane is going away.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, and in spite of the long blue arrow going one direction, that's actually a two-way street. They're just showing that that's where
Yeah.
traffic flow now.
So then I wouldn't be able to make a right turn there. I would just go straight and do the other, which is fine. If I'm driving, I can do it. I'm
Yeah.
I don't really care. I do, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to go against what benefits more people just because I like to do that way sometimes when I drive. That makes sense though. I think it's better for the community.
Okay, so the motion, I'll restate the motion is in support of the Court Square pedestrianization project. But the committee requests that the scope of the project include public restroom. What did I say? Bike parking.
Secure bike.
Secure bike park.
Should I say secure bike parking?
Yeah.
Yeah, secure bike parking, and a eastbound bike lane on Thompson Avenue connecting
Is
to,
it contraflow?
Eastbound protected bike lane.
okay. A contraflow, protected bike lane on the one-way conversion on Thompson Avenue. Okay,
Call the question?
Okay.
call the question, all in favor? Great, it's unanimous, thank you so much. We got that motion?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Great, the motion passes unanimous. Thank you so much. We do have a quorum. We're going to, is there anything else that we were going to do?
Did we want to make a motion in support of the bus lanes on Queens Boulevard? Or
Yeah.
have we already done that?
We haven't done
Last
that.
meeting.
I just
So-
also wanted to ask if you were gonna make a motion on the letter to Parks and EDC, or
I think,
to the letter to Parks and EDC.
I think we're just gonna wait for a full-throated request next month. If it
Sounds
comes
good.
up. Yeah, thank you. But as far as the CB2 Parks Committee, we can get you in touch with the chair there so you can present to them and get even more.
Anything to help spread the word.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
appreciate your
Yeah.
advocacy on that.
And you're giving us more of those.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we'll mention in the full board meeting on Thursday, this presentation and that these will be available for everybody. So we'll hear. Maury.
I got it. No, I was just doing
He's applauding.
applauding.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah,
Great. Does somebody want to make a motion about a Queens Boulevard bike lane or a bus lane?
Sure.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion. So,
No.
yeah, so whereas there's been an increase in residential density along Queens Boulevard, and whereas CB2 has no bus lanes in our district, and whereas the city is behind on its legally required minimum miles of protected bus lanes, we strongly urge the city to add bus lanes to Queens Boulevard in our district.
Dedicated bus lines?
Yeah, dedicated bus lanes, fine.
All right, that's it. Is there a second?
The entire
Second.
length of the boulevard,
Yeah, sure.
all the way out to.
Second, and just clarification, where on Queens Boulevard, just in our district or throughout?
So the speaker today was talking about east of 48th Street, right? Like the once Roosevelt branches off, right? Personally, I would like them to be the full length of Queens Boulevard, but I recognize there's not a lot of room once you get into Sunnyside. So at least Woodside, right? The Woodside portion of Queens Boulevard, I think is really where the public comment was focused.
Oh, really? I thought there was discussion about the Sunnyside portion. Up
I
to
mean, I've talked about the Sunnyside portion previously, so I'd like to include that in my motion.
if
Why
there
not include it?
if there
Yeah,
is
include it.
if there's a mayor who wants to make this the envy of the world, and a DOT
sure.
that wants this, and a board that wants this, why not ask big?
Okay,
I leave it.
so we can say in Sunnyside and Woodside.
It is a priority corridor, and we don't have its bus lanes.
And they are gonna do aren't they doing a capital upgrade on like the bike lane, so that this would be the time to
Yeah.
build that in.
Yeah, but as long as they're doing the elevators for the subway, they're losing lanes anyway.
Oh, yeah.
How are they going to approve another whole bus
It's
lane?
not gonna happen
Not gonna
that quickly.
happen.
Don't worry, Patricia. It's not
They
gonna
can
happen.
phase it.
Then
I
why,
agree.
then why say this now? Why?
Well, because I'm only on the board a couple more years.
Well, and also we had a public comment about it. Someone came to the board today to ask us to do it.
Yeah, so a bus rider in the district says that the buses move at a very, very slow pace. And a
Because
dedicated
there's so
bus lane.
much construction on. that's
No, I know, but
why.
He rides in Woodside.
Yeah, and I think that, dedicated bus lane speeds it up and, we can let DOT figure out the traffic that it would create, and if they have to make a section that's not a dedicated bus lane because of the construction, I'm sure they can do that.
Until the construction's
Until the
finished.
construction-
I mean, we could say in the motion something that allows for the, timing, in synchrony so that.
Yeah, but that
Elevator
they can-
properties done.
I
They
think
can
it's
do
a-
that. We don't need to specify that, right? Like,
It's trucks that are delivering, that are double parked. And if you get a bus lane, you're gonna be down to one driving lane. It's gonna cause more congestion, it's gonna back up all the way up the.
Good.
And nobody's gonna be going.
Good.
But that's what
Patricia,
Northern Boulevard is.
Patricia, that would be so good because if it got that congested, what's going to happen is the people are not going to drive as much, and then you who need to drive will have fewer cars to be in your way.
You know what I call that?
What?
BS.
But just to talk about the connection, Queens Link, if it were built, would get people on trains, so they wouldn't be driving their cars from outer Queens into Manhattan through our
It
district.
ain't gonna.
And there'd be fewer cars on Queens Boulevard.
Bus lane, I don't mind, I would like a bus lane, but as long as this construction is on, it's going to cause more problems. So.
But the
I will be
construction's
voting.
gonna be done within a year.
Within-
or so.
This is committee time, but I'll let you just weigh in a second.
If I could add, you could consider adding a phrase in there that says that the exact location and timing of implementation could be up to further study.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
Up to what?
Further study.
No,
And I think whenever we ask for things,
synchronizing with other
Sure.
existing.
we're asking for studies. We know that how the city works. The city will do complete studies, traffic flow studies. This is why when I ask for something, when we do a vote and ask for a stop sign at 54th Street, it takes 2 years because they're doing a study. This will do the ask, and you know, if it happens within this mayor's term, that's pretty fast for the city, I feel like.
Another point I'll add is, you know, I think we're all really frustrated about double parking on Queens Boulevard.
Yes.
And right now, the way the automated bus lane enforcement works is only if those cars are parked at bus stops. But they double park all along the corridor. And if there's a bus lane on the whole corridor, then they can ticket double parkers. Well, they can ticket them anyway, but they automatically ticket double parkers along the whole boulevard, which is going to improve things for everyone.
Well, the letter I got from the MTA says that it's going to ticket double parkers, not just people in the bus stops.
Oh, okay, good. I hope so.
Which is also to the point, Northern Boulevard is for a large chunk of it is one bus lane and one car travel lane and parking lane.
Right up until our district.
It goes.
And we've got Assemblymember Raga's bill for automatic ticketing. You remember?
Yeah.
But we still have to deal with the privacy issues with that. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
I'll just say one other thing.
Sure.
If you're concerned about double parked cars impeding the bus lane, you could consider amending the motion to have a center lane bus lane so that there would be no conflict between possible double parked cars and you could theoretically more easily maneuver.
What you mean under the viaduct here? Because that's
No,
the
just
part
on-
you're talking about.
Just
That's
in the
the part-
middle.
That the part is really from Roosevelt Ave into the city, that end of it.
Right.
I like that though, the center ones.
Center running is nice, except it's a much bigger ask. They need special buses, or they'd have to run them on the other side. They have to relocate all the bus stops. They're already doing capital work to build these bus boarding islands, and there's a capital project to do a protected bike lane on Queens Boulevard. It's an easy ask to just say, just paint the lane red. Please, we've been begging you for years. You have to do it legally, and you haven't been, and we're giving you a golden opportunity to do it, and our own constituents are asking for it.
East of 48th Street, what?
I mean, I'm happy putting the ask everywhere. If we're really concerned about phasing
Where does it run on Queens Boulevard?
the Q60,
Yeah.
it runs the whole length
Yeah.
of our district.
Yeah, from Queensboro Bridge to
On the service road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the way up.
Yeah. All right.
So maybe the motion really is to address where the Q60 goes and to integrate it with the capital plan, et cetera.
Wait, but don't we still have the Q32?
Q32 goes up Roosevelt though.
Oh, right.
Oh, 232.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Also, I mean, so if there was a dedicated bus lane on, from Roosevelt to the bridge, the Q32 would benefit as
Right,
well.
okay.
That's true.
Enormously.
The whole
Yeah, that's
thing
what I
is
mean.
that at 48th Street, you get to have that side road. It makes that all the difference between lower 48 and upper 48.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree. Never thought they could put in the bike lanes on the sand of Queens Boulevard.
Okay.
They could put a bus lane.
We have a
on the
motion,
service road.
right, on the floor?
There's a motion on the floor that's been seconded.
Call the question?
Call to
What does
question.
it say?
Restate the motion, if there were any amendments.
Right, so I'll try to remember what I said. So whereas there's been increased density zoned along Queens Boulevard, and whereas the city has a legal mandate to build a minimum number of miles of protected bus lanes, and whereas the city has failed to meet that gap, that level, and whereas CB2 has no miles of protected bus lanes in our district, we would propose to put a dedicated bus lane on Queens Boulevard throughout our district.
When you use the word protected about bus lanes, do you really mean that or dedicated?
The law says protected,
Okay.
so technically camera enforced means protected, but what we want is a dedicated bus lane, so I'm using both terms.
Okay, I mean, it's not, that was intention.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Oh my God.
Won't happen that quickly.
The better the buses are, the fewer people in cars.
And the elevators will be completely built by the time.
Just think of one bus as 30 cars. That's all you gotta do.
If they can get to the bus.
Yeah.
Well,
We get rid of the cars. They can. Look, can I, it looks
Hold on,
like.
we gotta vote.
So what's the final vote?
I thought we voted.
There was
My
one-
hand was up.
So it's all in favor, one opposed or one abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
You can't abstain.
Because I'm not opposed, but I think it's stupid to do it.
You have to be opposed then, because
can't oppose
abstaining. you can
Voting
only-
while grumbling it's stupid, I will accept.
Yeah. I think it's an abstention.
3 hours in.
No?
We've had this talk.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
comes up a lot.
technically, you're not allowed to abstain unless you have a conflict of interest.
No, you're
Yeah.
allowed to
I
abstain.
mean, that's just the rules. I didn't make it up.
But
But-
I have a conflict of interest.
Well, like
He's a driver.
money, no, your employment with,
I'm also a walker
well, no, I mean, I,
with a cane.
I know.
no, I mean, I think we don't, I mean, technicalities aside, if you want to abstain, please abstain.
But Patricia, I would just add that on the last motion, if that would have actually come, even though I'm in the spirit of it for the for Noel's
For
one
Queenslink.
for Queenslink, sorry, thanks. I would have voted against it even though I support it in general. Because based on the knowledge we had at that moment, I wasn't gonna vote. So, you know, you can vote against something because even though,
You don't
like
the
you
terms
said,
of the
you're,
motion.
what's that?
Like you can vote against it even if you don't like the terms of the motion.
That's right.
You can vote against it because you don't like me. That's fine.
Everybody likes you.
I don't wanna, lead the witness too much.
I don't
But,
believe it's tenable.
either you like the motion or you don't like the motion. You may like the spirit of things, but yeah,
I don't believe it's tenable, so I'll vote against.
sure. All right. The motion
Great.
passes with one opposed. Excellent, thank you.
I have one last question when you're ready.
You have one last question?
Yeah.
Okay, I do have an update about the 7-line repairs, but so nobody adjourn the meeting yet.
That might be what I wanted to ask. So go ahead.
I attended a briefing on the Flushing Line state of good repairs. Where was the with new timelines for when work will finish. Essentially, everything's going and it's going well, but they are finding a lot of the steel girders are really, really in bad shape, and they're replacing a lot more steel than they expected at all the stations, which is a good thing. Ultimately, we know how these stations are falling apart. The timeline is that within our district, 52nd Street, 61st Street, and 69th Street, the Manhattan bound side was going to finish Q1 of this year, which is right now. They have a completion date of May 25th.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah, it is March, so May 25th, they will finish 52nd Street,
The date.
61st and 69th Street, the Manhattan bound side. That means that the Flushing bound side is going to start May 2026.
So it flips, so we'll then
Yeah.
at least go.
Just on those 3 stations.
This has also, so they've also been doing 82nd Street and 111th Street. A lot of those are already done. The major change is 103rd Street. The Flushing bound side is going to finish, Q3. But the Manhattan bound side has been de-scoped from the project, so they do not have the time to finish that simply because they want everything to be back up and running again. I mean, 103rd Street is going longer than everything else. So in order for them to continue 103rd Street, they'd have to keep they'd have to keep the lines down
About the
for
other
even longer.
46, 41st.
That's a different project so this is state of good repair, which is to repair all the stations that are in disrepair.
Does the May
3rd
25th
Street,
date,
46th Street are the elevator projects with updated mezzanines and all that stuff, but that's a different project from what this is.
Do we have an update on that too?
wait, I have a quick question. The May 25th date for 61st Street, does that include the escalator?
No, the escalator comes a little bit later. Late Q2 of this year. So it's about the same time.
All right.
So what is Q2, June?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Does it about 40th Street?
Uh,
Is that an?
they're talking about the elevators, right?
It's not an elevator.
40th?
no, they haven't been working on 40th Street. I think these are the stations that are not part of the viaduct, the cement viaduct. These stations are all steel girders that have been in disrepair. So this is a project that started in May 2023 and is continuing. And just so with those next stations that will switch over in May 2026 this year, those are anticipated to complete Q3 of 27. So that's when all this work will be done and the tracks come back and both sides of the station are accessible. Q3 2027.
Then we can have the bus lane put in.
Well, but I think.
That's a different thing. That's the elevator project.
Yeah.
I don't have an updated date on that, but I can try to find the old date.
Q3. Elevator.
That's the 61st Street escalator. Yes. And just to review, the state of good repair does replace stairways, mezzanines. It replaces everything, mainly the steel underneath, but once the steel is replaced, they replace everything. They do new cement platforms, new platforms, and it's gonna be, it's gonna be essentially the same station, but all new finishes.
And
Yeah.
that's when the elevators are gonna get done.
They didn't talk about it, but I can try to find the original plan. Here we go. Let me see.
As long as the parts don't come through the Straits of Hormuz.
Uh-huh. That happened with the Queensboro Bridge, the upper deck where they, because of COVID and everything else and supply chain stuff, they couldn't finish it and that delayed the bike lane. Walkway.
Riley, is there an update on, do we know when the elevators and mezzanine, it was originally June, do we know if it's shifted yet?
I haven't heard anything. I'm looking it up now. So for 46th Street, the original date of completion was Q3 of this year.
Oh, okay.
That's September.
Going to the restroom. I'll be right back.
They are updating the CCTV on all these new stations or all these state of good repair stations. Maury, for your sake, remembering you, I asked if there would be facial recognition and AI, and they said, no, it's just a camera system.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Sure. And then they talked about the LaGuardia Link bus stop for the Q70. I had to bring to their attention. It's just, if you guys haven't visited it lately, it's terrible.
I love that bus.
I remember, I grew up in New York, but for a while my family moved to Florida, and when I would come back and visit New York, all the decrepit stuff would be like, it's just like the movies. That's what that bus stop is like for me, because it's
totally
street station and it's just full of trash, and you wouldn't believe that it's the only mass transit connection to the best of America, but it is. So I brought that to their attention. They're like, sure.
That used to be the bus going to Rockaway.
Oh, yeah.
Used to be
At that spot, yeah.
Yeah. I
And
took
then,
that.
as far as other questions, elevators at these stations, 52nd Street, 61st Street, and 69th Street, are part of the future of New York, but these repairs had to be done first. You don't add an elevator to a station that's falling apart. So this is the capital plan project for this right now, and it will be finished. This one side will be finished in May, and then the next side will be finished Q3 of next year.
And then they'll start the elevators.
Well, the elevators don't have to be done till 2054, you know.
People throw that all over.
But I'll be around today.
I'll try not to break my leg until then.
And then they said these stations will be in good state for 25 years or more.
That's all. 25.
So I mean, ooh. Get to the next guy.
It's expensive to manage a city.
Yeah. That's it. Anybody have any other questions?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Second.
Seconded, a motion to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Raphael
Passes.
missed the motion. He thinks we're still in session.
Then we can't leave.
We can't leave till he goes.
Teresa, thank you very much for staying on and listening to us.
Yes, it's almost as fun as the education meetings. There was a 5-hour long PEP meeting that I listened into last week.
Oh, I was part of that.
Almost as fun. We gotta bump.
Yeah,
our numbers up.
I'm also really excited that the elevators are gonna be ready in time for my retirement.
See you in a couple days, friends.
See you, friends.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
Rick,
you,
thanks for,
Raphael, even though you're
thanks for
not
the
here.
presentation. I'm sure we'll get a good vote for you at our next meeting. So thanks for sticking around, Queenslink folks.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for staying around.
That's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Are you local or?
Oh, great.
Oh, okay. No, because that was the same.
You missed it, Raphael. You missed all the excitement of
I did, I missed
adjournment.
out.
You missed the adjournment.
How could I?
Thank you.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
to see you.
you, everyone.
Close the adjournment.
Good night.
All right. See you all Thursday. Hope.
Corey, who made the motion to adjourn? Was it you or Maury?
It was me.
Who seconded?
I think Randy did. I didn't.
Randy.
Got it.
Thank you.
Well, double check. Thanks so much.
Oh yeah, it's all on tape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.